I forgot to turn my gas on and I was doing a backflip.
You never knew who might show up in the pro class.
I mean, it would have been a perfect pass, but
allegedly it would have been a
yeah, it would have. Like,
We do what we do.
yeah. X quad god chase snap.
pit racing, pit golfing.
Pit racing.
Pit racing, boy.
Shit, move. Presented by SSI Decals, this is the Pit Racing Podcast coming at you right now. The Pit Racing Podcast is now brought to you by Up Top Roofing and Restoration in Oklahoma City. Up Top Roofing is Oklahoma City's first choice for any and all building envelope exterior solutions, whether it be a retail project or a storm restoration claim. They have the experience needed to complete the project. If you're having issues with an insurance claim, they can help you there too. From a simple roof replacement, complete interior or exterior remodel, to a tornado ripping off your roof, we have you covered at Up Top. Give Up Top Roofing a call today. What is their contact information? Let's figure that out. They don't have it here on their website.
Just give Mark's cell phone.
Yeah, right? Let's get her dialed in here. 405-431-0017. That's Up Top Roofing and Restoration. They're based out of Yukon, Oklahoma. You can also email them at email Mark Blackwell, mark@uptopokc.com. Up Top Roofing and Restoration, going to be bringing you live broadcast at the Oklahoma State Championship Series next year from the Pit Racing crew ourselves. Welcome Up Top Roofing to the crew. We appreciate it. And welcome to episode 21 of the Pit Racing Podcast. Caught up with Daniel Orr and Nate Orr at Moto City a while back for the last episode. That was really cool to have them on live on location at the state race. And speaking of Mark Blackwell, we had him join us in there for a little bit too. And along the same line of guys that we run with at the track, we got Glen Long in here with us tonight, and we've been trying to get him on here for a while too. Finally got schedules lined up the night before Thanksgiving. Works out. No one's got anything to do, at least not early in the morning tomorrow, right? So good timing on all of our ends. But you know, Glen's kind of the same age group as Mark and Kobe and the rest of these vet heroes that we've had in here the last year or so. So good to have you in, Glen.
Thank you.
It's so funny. Like, sometimes you say what I just said to you, Glen. You say, you know, glad to have you in here, whatever. And the person will talk for 10 minutes after that. Like Jeremy Thomas is one of those, right? Or Marshall is one of those people. They talk for 10 minutes after you bring them into the show. And then Robbie Smith did the same thing you did. And then I think it was, I'm trying to think. There's someone else we did that same thing happened. I said, welcome to the show, man. And they said, thank you. And that was it.
Yep. Let me just be quiet over here now.
Pretend I'm not here. I guess the most recent thing you've done, well, first of all, how'd you finish in the state series?
Well, I won plus 40.
Did you?
Yeah.
Champion, baby.
Well, it's easy when all your competition is hurt or doesn't race, you know.
When are you going to man up and ride the plus 25 class with the real men?
Well, I was thinking about doing plus 30 and plus 40, but I don't know. I mean, I think if you know, if we get a little wager going, maybe I'll do it.
Yeah. Well, I know anytime we've been on track, you've had me covered. So you've at least got like top 6 or so.
Well, I can chime in here.
This year.
Perfect example this year. We did Ascot twice. The first time we went there, I think Austin, you and Supernal both weren't there.
Yeah, I missed that one. I had a show that weekend.
It was perfect conditions, like overcast, misty, like track was awesome all day. And they double gated plus 25 and plus 40, which I thought was awesome because I knew Glenn and Kobe and them guys were similar to my speed. And we did one gate drop. And I had Glenn for 2 laps, and he passed me and had me the last 2 when it counted. So
well, I'll tell you. So we did the double gate on that, and we took off, and it was like pandemonium because I didn't know where I was at. I knew I was far back in the pack, and I'm like, what the hell is going on here? You know, like I raced super hard, and I got 6th. And I couldn't believe it.
That's a story of my life. in plus 25.
I raced plus 25 somewhere else this year, and it was the same thing. I think I got 5th or 6th, and I was
Riding your ass off.
proud of it.
Yeah.
Yeah, that's something I've come to learn over the last few years is just if I rode good, had fun, battled with some people, I don't care if I got 3rd or I got 7th. As long as I came off the track smiling, gave it my all, and battled with some people,
That's horseshit.
whatever.
Yeah. That's a big pile of crap. That is not
I
true.
never heard such a fat fucking lie in my life. You know how many times you came off the track this year fucking pissed off?
Yeah.
Okay, yeah. I guess I'm dreaming. over
Especially
here.
if I was in front of you for a couple laps.
Well,
Then you
there
were
are
really
some
pissed.
stipulations there.
Sounded good for a second.
As long as I'm out there enjoying myself, having lots of fun,
Yeah, what am I thinking?
that's all that matters. That's all we're here for. I don't need to win.
Hell,
It's no
Ricky,
big deal.
I was high when I said that.
It's all about
Well,
fun.
maybe I got carried away, but I don't expect to win in the plus 25 class. That's kind of far fetched.
There you go.
So if I get 3rd, I'm pumped.
You know, the plus 40 class is a completely different animal than plus 25 or even plus 30 sometimes, where, like, if you race plus 25, you're going to battle. I mean, no matter if it's 1st, 3rd, 5th, 6th, 7th. I mean, the top 5 to 10 guys are still pretty fast. Where plus 40, I mean, nothing against the other guys, but there's a couple of us, you know, that are pretty fast. And then there's a couple guys a little bit slower, you know, like the guys that never were to an expert level at any point. And some of those guys are still fast, but, you know, there's a couple of us where in the plus 25, they're all crazy. You know, they're fast.
I agree with that 100%.
I think he's trying to mention slide up to the mic a little bit.
Oh, I mean, that wouldn't hurt, but that's not what I was going for. Y'all keep talking. I'm dicking around over
Just
here.
get on the mic.
Get on it.
I don't even know how many races I did this year. I can't remember.
Not very many.
I think you only did 2 or 3.
Yeah, I don't even remember which one.
Fill us in on where you're at, Supernova.
Oh, shit.
Where's your mind at? Where's the game at?
Shit,
How we
boo.
feeling? How we doing?
I got a young Piper. He's going to be here sometime in January. My daughter. The bike sold, but I had a wild hair on the way home from work. Decided I'm going to have to buy another bike. And I'm trying to decide which type of bike I'm going to buy, but I think I'm going to go KTM. I think.
Oh, boy.
Like to be ready to race.
I mean, when I got my last one in 2020, I didn't really see it at first, but I seen something on it that said ready to race. So I looked at the Honda, I didn't see the same sticker. So
I think it's right there on the bar pad.
yeah, and there's
Just letting you know.
I mean,
On the KTM?
Yeah. Ready to race.
Brembo brakes, black spoke pegs.
Spoke pegs.
I mean, God.
Spoke pegs.
Smoke pegs.
It's been out of the game for a minute.
No, I think it's going to be KTM though.
That new Yami's looking good.
It is. Me and Chase were tempted to wait
My
on
hips are locked since like 14 years old, so I can't ride Yamahas. So that's where it came down to either Honda or KTM, but I think it's going to have to be KTM.
Yeah, I'll be honest. Glenn on the Yamaha thing 2-3 months ago, I was really kind of considering the new Yamaha. Just the advertising got me, you know,
Yeah.
the new, slimmer, lighter, all that. And I was kind of like, you know, don't hate my air forks on the KTM. I feel like they're the best air forks I've ever had compared to other brands.
Right.
But I actually didn't have a bike for a couple races this season, and I borrowed one, and it had the spring conversion on it, and I really liked it. So then I was like, that'd be a plus, you know, if I got a Yamaha, I don't have to
Right.
throw
convert
a bunch
it.
of money into it. Yeah. And plus, when I had my YZ250 two-stroke, I really liked the suspension on it. I mean, right out of the box. And so I was kind of like, yeah, maybe. And I was telling Austin, he's like, what? And then within a couple weeks, I got him swayed that way, and he was considering it. What it really came down to was when I found out we have no time frame on when they're going to show up.
Right.
This was 2-3 months ago, and I already didn't have a bike for a couple months, and so I was like, I need a bike of my own. I'm tired of. I raced 3 races on somebody else's bike, had 75, 80 hours on it, and I had this feeling that I'm going to blow their bike up. And so, anyways, I was like, Yamaha's out. KTM's are in. I'm going to go get one. Got it. Went to the 450. I really like it. But what I don't like is Yamaha's advertising, oh, this new bike's so great, lighter. Have you actually looked up the weight compared to a KTM? It's scary.
It's still heavier.
It's scary.
Way heavier, isn't it?
It's like 16 pounds heavier than my bike.
I thought it was 11 pounds, and now it's like 6.
I don't think they're slimmer either.
But I could be wrong.
Compared to the KTM?
Yeah.
Oh,
I think all they did was shorten the front fender and make it more pointy. I think that's all they did.
On the Yamaha?
Yeah.
No.
I'm hoping they change the engine back the right way, but probably not.
so
Probably not.
they didn't. It's still reverse. So the 2020 Yamaha 450, 2023 Yamaha 450 is 240.
40.
God, dog.
And mine's 226.
240.1 pounds. The
226.
KTM 450 is 226.
I mean, you can throw that over your shoulder.
14 pounds.
That's
You know
a
what I
lot
mean?
of weight.
That's a big difference.
And they cut 5 pounds off of that new one.
Yeah.
That's why I'm saying, like, dang, the old one is really heavy.
That thing was
I
big.
mean, besides Tomac, and he's a god. I mean, who's doing anything on Yamahas?
Kyle Chisholm.
I can't.
Yeah, but I've never been one.
I can't brag on KTM's right now.
I've never been one to think, oh, well, this guy's not doing good this year. His bike sucks.
Dude, people haven't liked Yamahas in at least 10 years.
I mean, dude, Yamaha's the bike to be on right now. I don't know what
Unless
you're
you're talking about a 250. But Yamahas are not it.
on. 450s are going to be that way
They're
in the next
almo-
couple years, I
hey.
think, too.
Yamaha's
so.
almost Suzuki.
No, I think next
Whoa.
The
year.
only difference is they
easy
have
killer.
a
Whoa.
push start.
Whoa. You need to go straight back into retirement, my friend.
my bad.
Yamaha's the new Suzuki.
I'm just talking shit, but I really don't like Yamahas.
Oh, I understand that.
Well,
entirely.
Glenn's Yamaha 250 was enough to beat me on the KTM 350. So
I was 100%.
You're a quad guy, though. If he added 2 more wheels, you'd have put him right in the dirt.
I was 100% anti Yamaha until that new 450 came out, and I was kind of like, man, that thing looks pretty good.
Nah, I mean, I think any bike's fine, but me personally, you ain't gonna catch me on no blue bike.
I was really hung up on that weight though, like 14 pounds.
I believe
fucking crazy.
Personally, don't believe in the weight. Like, I don't know if you've ever rode 450s, but they feel light as shit.
I had a Yamaha 450, and like it was heavy to get on the stand, but when you rode it, it was so nimble. You know,
Yeah.
I mean, turning it kind of sucked, but
and really weight, if you think about it, I guess bike weight versus rider weight's a little different. But look at my weight versus your weight, Austin.
True.
I mean,
Yeah. Which I might have even, like, I think I would probably notice the power of a 450 more than you would.
when
Yeah, I would
when
think
are
that.
you really feeling the weight of a dirt bike when you're riding it? Like, you're never picking the thing up. You're just using the power of the bike.
I don't know. I would have to ride like the lightest bike versus the heaviest bike. and see if I could
Honestly,
feel
if you
the
want to know
difference.
the truth, probably the heaviest bike I've ever rode is a fucking 110 because they have 0 power. So I'm feeling all that weight.
yeah, when you're picking it up.
Yeah, especially midair.
Like,
you
you
don't
know-
have the gyro.
I don't know if you ever like been into whips, but people always say the 450s are the easiest to whip.
Right,
Because they have the
gyro.
most power.
Yeah, the
So
torque.
to me, that makes it feel light.
Yep.
So to me, the weight's not really a big. To me, you're not going to notice the weight from a KTM to a Yamaha.
I don't know. I would have to ride it to know for sure. I mean, at least from my perspective.
This is just something to try to answer your question. I know your whole career you always struggled with your suspension on your 450.
Cowie, Cowdunka.
Yeah, but your 250, you'd say, oh, suspension's great. With the 450, it just sucks. And you tried all kinds of different things. Why? It has to do with the frame and chassis and everything's not that much different, but it's a heavier bike.
So
Maybe that had something to do with
exactly what you're saying. I believe that because like my Cowie 250s to me were always dirt slow, and they had to have been lighter than the 450. So maybe I could power through braking bumps. But my Cowie 450s, I mean, to me it was just a rock. Like if I hit big braking bumps, this thing's dipping so far down and then rebounding so hard. Like I'm holding on for dear life. But I can go backwards in time, go back to when I was like 16, 17 on a Honda 450, lighter, and that thing felt like a dream everywhere. And I don't know what the weight difference is from that Honda to that Kawasaki, but that Kawasaki
Probably not much.
did not. Me and that bike did not jive. That's all there is to it.
By the way, Glenn, we just talk over each other in here for 3 hours. So if you
So I
got
don't
something
need to wait.
if you got something to say, just say it. Yeah,
Yeah, because if you wait, it'll be 20 minutes later.
yeah, we'll already change
You
the
forgot
subject.
what you were going to say.
Yeah.
Always loved Cowies, but goddamn it, them Cowies did not do it for me.
You know, Kawasaki and Yamaha have a lot of the same characteristic, and then Suzuki and Honda have a lot of the same characteristic, that they're nimble, they feel lighter, they turn better, but they're less stable. Probably why, because you're riding a Kawasaki pig or, whatever. Like Yamaha's, that's what they say. It's like a slow pig, like it's heavy.
Stable.
It's stable.
What's weird for me is the bike that I love the most, which is my 2009 Honda 450. Everybody hates that bike, but that was the best bike I ever rode as far as like I could control it on a rough track.
Yeah, I remember.
But they say the frame flexes, they say this and that, but I don't know. For me, I don't know what it was, but that bike worked.
I can remember you were so confident on that bike and had
Which
the
I
best
mean,
results probably.
having confidence will go miles, even on a piece of a shit equipment. But when I rode my Cowie, there's zero confidence. Like I remember, I wasn't scared. I'd hit a rough straightaway as fast as I could, but it was just dear life.
I don't know. You just saying what you said, Glenn. I feel like at least my KTM feels like it's somewhere in the middle. It's always seemed to corner pretty good, but it's always felt fairly stable.
Caleb Carpenter.
Mm-hmm.
I rode his son's KTM 250 at my house, and I got head shake on it twice.
Did you?
And I'm like, what in the world? It was not stable.
Yeah, I get head shake on my bike from time to time, but that's like the least favorite tendency for me out of a bike. So I will do like every adjustment in the book to get rid of that and sacrifice other aspects of the handling.
Well, I was really impressed because that KTM 250 motor was, it was fast.
Yeah.
But I could not ride it. I could turn it.
The 350 is a ripper, dude.
That's crazy because for me, my 350, you two both know pretty well, I never touched the suspension. You guys touched the suspension way more than I did. Mm-hmm. But I don't ever remember feeling any type of sketch on that thing. The only time I got sketch is when I looped it out by my own doing or ran into somebody or something like that. Like that bike, I don't know, the suspension felt fine. Everything felt fine to me. I know I'm not riding probably as fast as I used to ride, but I'd still, send it pretty good. But it felt fine. Like I rode Ponca National, 2020? Mm-hmm. Track was rough. Everybody can agree with that. And I wasn't going that fast, but I was going fast enough. But I felt like I could do anything with that bike. I love that bike. Probably shouldn't have sold it, but fuck them.
It was time.
We got 450s to buy, boy. If we want to get sketchy.
Now I'm worried you're going to get a 450 and wish.
He's going to regret that 450.
Oh, I will not regret a 450. Let me tell you that. The 350, I loved it, but there's times I needed.
You remember back in the day,
450.
he would have set his 250s on fire if he had the chance.
I hate 250s.
When we were younger, yeah. 450.
Especially that Honda 250 you had.
Dude,
Yeah.
that was kind of my bike for like a month and a half.
That was a
It
stock.
was everybody.
That
and it
was a
was
stock 85.
roach.
I
dude.
rode it.
What year was it?
07. It was
07.
so slow.
Raynard told me to buy it. Don't know why. He said something about valves or something, but
No, I thought that was the bike you got for free.
I did get it for free. But Raynard told the guy that bought it for me, because like 08s were out. He said, don't get the 08, get the 07. Which I ain't saying the 08 was any faster, but that bike had to have been the slowest 250 in all the world. Yeah. It had literally zero power.
I shared this.
I never got off the highest RPM I could get. I stayed on it at all times, and it went nowhere.
Yeah, I remember.
I shared this old video on my Facebook today. It's from 10 years, or 12 years ago. It was like the first pit racing media video ever, right? And there's this video of him at TMX on that bike going through like these sand whoops. And I don't think you can hear it because there's music on the video, but when you watch the raw footage, it's like, and he's like not going anywhere.
I swear, that had to have been the slowest 250 ever made.
Bike was tough though. Never.
It was a fucking tank, but it's like a S10 or a Ford Raptor or something. You know what I mean? Like
Just beat the devil out of it.
One's moving, one's not.
I had a 14 CR250F, and it
Dual?
was
Did they quit dual then or not?
it was single. It was a turd though. I mean, it was.
Dude, so my experience back in the day with Hondas, which the 450 I can't really say much on because it felt fast to me, but I was pretty small, pretty young. But the 250s to me were like really stable bikes, rode really good, felt great, but just fucking slow. And like for me, Kawasaki's, they've always, especially my 450, I can't say much on the 250, but my 450, it would hit so hard off the bottom, like really hard. But, I mean, that's really all it had going for it for me. Like, I mean, it had crazy bottom end, but I couldn't control it. It felt heavy as shit. It just, I don't know. Me and the Cali 450 never worked out.
Is this the same one that we went and picked up that one day?
Cali?
Yeah. Remember we picked up your 2 demos?
No. That was
No, that was an 11.
That was like an 11 Fredo. Fresno Racing bought me the 12.
You had we picked up 3 bikes that day.
I had some weird sponsors.
Those were
growing up.
11s.
Yeah.
He had 2 250s and a 450.
Yeah. That 11, I mean, I did all right on it, but I don't know.
I remember that day. I'll remember it for the rest of my life because we went down to Ajax, picked up the bikes, and then we sessioned the 250 and the 450 on the pit bike track for like 3 hours.
Yeah, I remember that really clear. But what you don't know is like the next day, me and Chase went to Raynard's, and I completely totaled my brand new dirt bike.
We've talked about this before. It was his first day on the track.
Broke every part on the bike. I think.
On the Cali?
Yes. Subframe, pipe. I mean,
Flipped it 15 times.
rear fenders poking out this way, front fenders that way, handlebars down to the side,
Pipes
radiator
gone.
smashed. Like,
Did you ever ride it?
That was just a 250.
Oh.
Right? Wasn't
Yeah.
my 250?
yeah, I rode
Yeah.
that one, but also the 11 450 that you had got that day before is the one I wadded at Freestone.
Yeah.
Remember that
Yeah.
roller you launched down the hill?
Yeah, that year, me and you both had no business being at Freestone.
No, it ate our lunch.
Almost every national
I
you
think-
ever went to with me, I had no business being there.
I don't
pretty
remember
sure.
the 2 of you going to Freestone.
You weren't
Yeah.
with us.
It was a regional. It's the same year that Zeb Smith. You remember Zeb Smith?
No, that wasn't the same year because I was there for what you're getting ready to talk about.
Oh, then I don't know.
The 1 foot peg
maybe
deal?
maybe it wasn't the same year.
What year would it have been?
2012, 11.
No, the
was 11.
Zeb Smith thing went down in like 09 or 08.
This was 2011
Maybe.
because I remember I was trying for B class
Yeah.
and he was.
Because I think my brother was on.
It was just about as bad as Illinois.
No, this was actually a year before. I was in C class. You were in B. Because you had. No, my memories. I saw the picture the other day. You had 2 450s. Because I had 2 bikes there. You had 2 bikes. And I put my plastic on your 450, the older one. But you were riding the newer one.
So
was
it
a
had to be like
12.
12.
Yeah.
And either way, me and Pitt had no business being there.
We both.
We should have went the fuck home.
We rode home with no tickets. And I
was
think I
rough.
had a busted shoulder.
I got my new Cowie 250 like 4 days after you got your demos. Remember that?
Yeah, the 10 from
Yeah.
Boglet.
Because I saw a Facebook memory not too long ago. It was a picture that you posted, and it was like Austin got a new bike. Mine's on the left, and it was both of our bikes in my old garage.
In the garage? Yeah, we
Yeah.
had bikes lined up in the garage.
Yeah.
Both 250s.
Big
Yeah.
dogs.
Yeah, both 250s. Except his was the first full injected year. Mine still had a
If we want to
carburetor.
talk about a good year, though, for me, a good year for me on 250s was a 2008 KX 250F. That was a bad motherfucker.
I remember those bikes, yeah.
I love that bike.
Had kind of the gold colored fork tubes.
Don't know. All I know is it was the first year that they started doing black rims.
You had the blue and green graphics.
No, I had Pro Circuit graphics. Me and Mitch were on tight levels back then. Not really, but I like to think he was. No, that was like my first. I had a 07 250F that I rode. Then I got that 2008, and that was my first like full year on 250s, and I fucking love that bike.
Probably no pictures of those bikes on Facebook.
I have a picture of me at Bartlesville on that bike.
On Facebook?
Maybe. I don't gander through my Facebook profile pictures too much. Or
I mean, that's the only place.
pictures
Like,
too much.
I wish, you know what I wish was still around, which, Glenn, I don't know if you remember this, but the state races, like in the 2000s, there was this guy that would show up. It was Dave's Picks, and he had a account on zenfolio.com, and you could go to his website and type in your racing number and find every picture he took of you from any race.
We talked about this, but I don't know who he is.
Oh, okay, yeah. And his website doesn't exist anymore. And I'm like, fuck, there's so many awesome pictures of all of us from back in the day.
That'd be pretty awesome to be able to get back in
To
there.
look him up, yeah.
So I just found the picture. Cole's looking at it. It was June of 2012 at Freestone. So that's the year he went. You made it to Loretta's.
So we had three 250s there?
No, I had a 250 and my 250 and your old 450 with my 250 plastic on it.
You just had black background?
Yeah. And then you had your 250 and 450. But you ended up making it that year in A class.
Bro,
That's the last year you raced.
what track were we at?
That's Freestone.
I made it at Freestone?
No, you didn't make it at that regional. I don't know where you made it through. Or maybe you were alternate. No, because you raced both classes.
I wouldn't be an alternate. I don't know. I
Both
don't know.
classes at Loretta's?
We must have went to another regional somewhere.
Because he did in 2000, he did 10, 11, and 12, right? At Loretta's? Or
I don't feel like I feel like I did.
I know you did 11 and 12.
Yeah,
11 and 12 for
I don't think
sure.
I did. I think 10. I broke my arm.
Yeah.
11, he was in B and College Boy. But 12, he was in both A classes.
I think this comes up every other episode.
Yeah, we forget about it. But
It doesn't
anyways, so now I know it was 2012. And because that was the last year I tried in B class and didn't make it.
Have you ever been?
No, I tried C class year before, didn't make it. Moved up to B.
You had C class. You could have fought
Yeah.
for the title though in C class, and one of them, like the year that you almost won
2010.
Florida,
Yeah.
Gainesville. You could have battled for the W that year.
Yeah.
But you got a pat on the back, and that's it.
And it
In the
smashed,
C class?
and
Yeah.
smashed FMF pipe.
Tacoed. I think it was Dunsky's.
There's your 2011. I'm pretty sure.
Austin, have you ever been to Loretta's?
250.
Have you ever raced?
Not as a racer, no.
Yeah.
What about you?
I've been once in 98,
98. What class?
intermediate,
Nice.
I think that's Bryce
125?
125. Yeah. My bike was roached out too. It was so bad. Like I got home and I was like, man, this thing's running horrible. And I rebuilt it and it probably had 40 hours on the top end.
How'd you finish?
I think I got 17th overall.
Ain't too bad.
I went 12, 20, 27.
Why did you never go back?
I tried for a couple years and like the next year my shoulder was hammered. Like I qualified, but I couldn't do it. And then the year after I was expert and I'm like, there's no point.
Yeah.
No point in trying.
Well, I mean, I think at that point I realized, man, like, what am I really going to get out of this? Like,
Yeah.
go to Loretta's and get 20th in expert, or, I mean, if you get top 10, I didn't really see, I just started seeing like how much it costs versus what you get out of it.
Right.
And so I was like, yeah, I'll stick to this local stuff and
Yeah.
have a good time.
I went to a regional in novice class in 2020, I think it was, and got my ass kicked. That was the last time I tried.
Realize nowadays you got to live in a training facility to even want to compete, basically.
Yeah. I think I would have well, not right now. I haven't rode in like 2 months, but let's say like 8 months ago, I think I would have had a better shot at that point at the same regional than I would have when I actually tried. Like I got a lot faster on the 350 and just felt more comfortable as a racer.
What class would you try to go in?
Now, I don't know. Taryn told me about this plus 25 regional in Northern California that only had 4 riders at it in 2020. So,
Well, I think if you just want to go for the experience, then yeah, chase something to go. But like, the only reason I would go now,
There's
is
no-
if
there's
my
no-
kids are going.
oh yeah,
Like,
there's no class I'm going to go and compete for a title in. I know
Right.
that for a fact.
right. Well, me either.
Yeah.
I mean, almost any class, you got to be fucking like the people who win plus 25 are like ex pros that step down just to race it. You know what I mean? Like it's almost impossible to win unless you are just you ride for a living.
Yeah.
Yeah. Like, look at McQuarrie. Like, he owns me. Like, he's a tick off of Odell. And
I don't know if I'd say that. Oh.
well,
He's quick.
I've seen him a tick off Odell for a couple laps.
I've beat McQuarrie. I ain't fucking keeping up with Odell.
Yeah, but it's been a while since he raced him. He got back in the groove pretty good.
I'll fucking send it tomorrow, boys. I'm just kidding. No.
Well, he did.
I mean,
he did
McQuarrie's
good,
a fast
but-
dude.
Yeah.
Yeah, I know what you're saying. Like, he goes there, gets shown what real guys do that ride dirt bikes. It's just it's a different game at Loretta's.
Yeah, it is.
I mean, I wanted to go. I knew, I thought top 10 was like the best I could probably do with the amount of beer that I drink and shit. But it's just, I really don't want to go there and get top 10.
Yeah.
I'd rather go there and just watch and hang out.
So real quick, I wish the fucking TV was working, but look at this. So there's my old 125, Supernaws new 2011, and then my new 250 in the front, and then there's the Rocher, the 07 Honda in the back. I don't know why you still had it, but
Antique, baby.
I remember
That was just
I
like
sold,
the,
I sold that thing to Cluck for like $1,200
For a while in that time frame, it was just like a loaner bike. Whoever needed a bike to ride.
yeah, like I said, I had it for like 2 months.
So the guy that was like sponsored me, whatever, quote unquote, I asked him like, "Hey, what do you want me to do with this bike?" Because like I just had it at my house. I mean, I was done with it. I had other bikes. I'm like, "Do you want me to sell it?" He was real flaky, whatever. And I finally sold it to Cluck for, I can't remember how much. It couldn't have been more than like $2,000. But I remember I sold it to Cluck. He called me like a couple days later, so I had to go start it. I was the only one that could start the bike. I don't know why. Nobody else could start the bike. I could start the bike. The valves, there's something with the valves on that year.
Those models, intake valves
Floating or
They
something.
just don't start. They
For
suck.
some reason,
The bike had a hot start on it.
I could start the bike, no problem. But so he showed up. I met him in like Prattville at a car wash, and I started the bike like third kick. And that's the last I ever seen in the bike.
And then he put it in the truck, still running, took it home, and rode it that night.
I don't know what sorry soul has the bike now, but he probably can't start it. If he called me, I could probably come start it for him.
Dude, you ever think about that? Like, if some of your old bikes are still fucking around?
I mean, they got to be unless they send them to the scrapyard, right?
Yeah, like what? Like, I'm thinking like I had like
The first dirt bike I ever owned in my life, I still have. RM50. Oh, like it was 20 years older than me when I bought it, or when my parents bought it.
Yeah.
So I'd love to get that thing restored, but trying to get parts for that thing probably be like
What year is it?
possible. I think it was like an 82.
I bet you can still get OEM parts for it. I bet you can.
A RM50,
Yeah, I really think you can.
maybe.
I don't know.
Dude, there's some. I'll look into it.
You
but-
know Rhett, right?
Kegel?
Rhett Kegel?
Yeah.
All right, so I had the bike when I was a kid. Sold it to somebody. Actually sold it to McGruger's. You know McGruger's, right?
Yeah.
So we sold it to them. We bought it back from them. And then it turned into my pit bike. One day, me and Rhett were fucking around on it and chopping it out. Just completely bent the forks. And that's about the last time we ever fucked with it. But, yeah, that bike's older than dirt.
It's probably worth some money.
I mean,
Not in the shape it's
if you've
in.
seen it, you'd probably say no. If we restored it, yeah. But, it still has metal gas tank.
Okay, so you're thinking 88,
No, I think it's a 1982
82?
RM50.
Okay.
Or I think they call them JR50s.
JR, yeah, that's what it was. JR. All right.
I took this thing to Oak Mogi, Field of Dreams, first dirt bike track I ever rode at. Couldn't make it to the mud.
They have parts for 82 model Suzukis. I don't see a JR on here. They got RM60, RM80, and a bunch of other.
You could restore it, but you're
Bunch
gonna
of
need
other funky
you're gonna
names
need
that I
some
don't
time.
recognize.
You're gonna need some money.
Yeah. They have a DR 125.
It's a bad motherfucker, though. Let me tell you.
You better get to working on that. That little girl's going to be grown up before you ever get it done.
Now I'm gonna still chase his P dub.
We'll have one soon.
Yeah, that'll be actually probably. Well, no, he'll ride it for 3 years.
Lake?
Yeah.
No, Lake has 1 year on that thing max.
You think he'll outgrow
Have you
it?
seen the size of him?
Yeah, he's pretty big.
No, he literally has 1 year max on that thing.
My little dude's 6, and he still loves riding his P-Dub.
Is he jughead though, like Lake?
No, not quite.
Lake is a big kid.
Yeah, I think Pipe's gonna come out small. So
Yeah. What's Carson loving life on the dirt bike, or is he?
Oh, yeah, dude. Yeah, he's all about it.
Yeah.
Yeah. It's funny, like, I got away from racing, and when I had a son, I was like, oh God, we got to get some dirt bikes. And, at first, it kind of went okay. I was on a scramble to find him like his first bike. I think I actually came to Tulsa, and got it for Christmas. And anyway, he was okay with it. He wasn't super pumped, but he liked
Really?
it. Yeah. And so
Did he say why he wasn't super pumped?
well, he was just like, cool, but he wasn't just all over it. And so he rode it, and I taught him how to ride it, and he was all good, and it was fun. And I thought, well, I'm going to get him a race bike. And so I go out and buy this trashed out Cobra 50. And I get it for him for like the next Christmas or whatever. And he comes out and he goes, what's that for? I was like, well, it's for you. And he was like, oh, okay. And he turns around and goes back in the house. He did not want anything to do with it.
What in the world?
And so, that's cool, but
Yeah.
Anyway, so I kept trying to get him to ride it, and I got him on it one day, and he kept barely giving it gas. So I told him, I said, well, reach up there and grab some gas, grab the throttle. And he did, man. He got whiskey throttle. And
Center into the woods.
Yeah, he did, man. Hit a fence, and he was done with it. He was over it.
One thing we didn't get into, if we want to get into it, but like how you started riding dirt bikes.
Oh yeah. Well, I was getting there. We were just on some other shit.
Well,
Like from the start, like what was your first encounter with the dirt bike?
How'd you get into racing?
What
Did you-
got you into it?
Did you start in motocross? Did you start doing other stuff?
my grandparents used to have a pretty big ranch, and
Yeah.
instead of running horses, they would use dirt bikes. They called them motors.
Oh, really?
And so they all had like XR 600s or whatever, and they would herd cattle with those.
Mm-hmm.
And this
Probably cheaper than a horse, honestly.
well, it's in New Mexico. It's hot, dry,
Yeah.
and there's a lot of land to cover.
Mhm.
So anyway, that was one. I always wanted a dirt bike to be with the guys, but I never had any intentions of herding cattle. I just wanted to ride dirt bikes, and
So you grew up in New Mexico?
yeah, in Roswell.
I'll be damned.
Yeah,
You seen any UFOs or?
fake ones.
Shit.
No, but so my mom was like against the dirt bikes, and anyway, she had a job opportunity to move to Oklahoma, and I was like, no, I don't want to move. I was probably around 12, and anyway, I had this dirt bike picked out that I liked, that I found some kid had, and I was telling her all about it, and she said,
Hold up. So how did you find this dirt bike back then?
Okay,
that you
so
liked?
well, I had like a mini bike or
You calling him old or what?
No, I'm just curious. Like,
He's
he,
like,
he acts like he found it on Facebook.
Was it horse drawn or
something like?
no? So we would go ride at this canyon type thing.
So you
and
kind of had a bike at that point.
it was a mini bike, and it was just some neighbor kids. It didn't run, so
Like a pull start style mini bike?
yeah,
Okay.
yeah. So
Yeah.
I traded some stuff for this mini bike, got it running, and kind of rode around the neighborhood. Anything with motors, I was cool with, And so anyway, I'd seen this kid, and it was a CR60, and it was kind of hammered, no brakes.
I've never even seen a CR60.
I mean, everything used to be 60s back in the day. They weren't 65s.
Yeah, I know, but I've never even seen a Honda 60.
Well, it's air cooled, and so like I told her about it, and she's like, "No, I already told you, no dirt bikes," and I'm like, "Okay." So anyway, we're rocking along, and she's saying, "Hey, we're gonna be moving," and I'm like, "No, I don't want to." And she says, "Well, if I let you have a dirt bike, will you move?" I'm like, "Yep, let's go right now." I think it was $200,
Oh, wow.
and so anyway, that was my first dirt bike, and we moved to Oklahoma, and I didn't want to be here, and we moved into town for like a rent house, and I'd ride around the yard, and it was gay. It sucked,
Where did you move to in Oklahoma?
Shawnee.
Shawnee?
Yep. So anyway, we're living in town, and my parents are looking at a place out in Bethel Acres where my family still lives today. And we get moved out there, and like we're unloading, and I hear some dirt bikes in the background, and I'm like, "What is this?" And these people got some canyons they ride in, and so that's how it started, man. And actually, I rode dirt bikes for a long time before I ever got into racing. So like, I had that CR60. I was probably 15 and I got a YZ80. So I'm riding a CR60 at 15, maybe 14. And my parents decide to get me another dirt bike, and they get me a YZ80. And I get this thing Christmas morning, you know, I'm pumped. And so me and my little brother, he gets the CR60, and I've got the YZ80. And so we go out, we're riding, and hits the power band right off the face of this jump, dude. I loop out, land on my feet because I don't want to wreck it, and I like compress something in my back. And so all day I'm just miserable, you know. And anyway, I didn't like the YZ80 very much.
Too much power.
It was a beast.
So I want to ask you about how you got into racing, but before I do that, I don't want to forget about this. So you said your family's from Bethel Acres.
Mm-hmm.
They still live there now?
Yeah.
Did they how close were they to that tornado back in 13?
Well, so their house that they actually bought then, they've remodeled it, and they still live there. But it is about 2 miles south of where that tornado hit.
Yeah.
So it went across Twin Lakes, and then it went kind of northeast from there. Let me think. Let me count this one. Maybe 3.5 miles.
Okay.
But I was in the cellar
Yeah.
when that
that's
went by.
Close
And,
enough for sure.
dude, it sounded like it was on top of us.
Yeah.
Like it was crazy. Sounded like a train.
Have you
running
seen
over us.
videos of that thing?
Oh, yeah.
Dude, it's a beast.
Yeah, so that thing went over, and me and my little brother, you know, my little brother lives close to us too, and we're all in this cellar together, and we come out, and he's, you know, we're kind of looking at like the clouds, how it just cleared up and all this stuff, and we're kind of talking about where the tornado came from and where it went, and he goes, oh shit. He's got a buddy that lived right over there by the lake, and it completely demolished his place. Like, I was like, let's go over there. So we jump in this old Jeep I got, and we're cruising, and we get like half a mile from it, and it's just like trees, you know, and debris everywhere. And we get to this dude's place, and everything's gone. They were all good, but man, it was crazy.
Yeah, that day kind of gets overshadowed by the following day, right? Like the next day was more. And so a lot of people forget about that storm. But and I didn't even know about it until I moved down there for college, because I was a senior in high school when that happened. And you know, of course, I lived up here and wasn't nearly as deep into the meteorology game as a senior in high school as I am now, and so I wasn't keeping track of that shit. But I remember I drove to Okmulgee one weekend my freshman year and went down 40 right there where it crossed the road, and there's this bridge right after you pass. I can't remember what casino that is on 40, right by Shawnee.
Yep, Grand Casino.
Yeah, the Grand Casino. Right after you pass that, you go across this bridge, and if you look to the south, at least back then, there was all this tree damage, and I'm like, what the fuck? And then it dawned on me, I'm like, that's tornado damage. And so I went and looked up, you know, tornadoes in that area, and I found all the videos, and I was like, holy shit.
That thing was massive.
Yeah. But, you know, people don't know about that storm because the next day was more, and that was this huge you know, not international, but huge national headline.
You know, what's crazy about that is, and I don't know anything about this, so you may be able to kind of tell us more about it, but when that thing went across the lake, I swear it got bigger.
Yeah, you know, what's funny is a lot of people, they think like water or rivers or hills and stuff like that affects those things, and they don't give a fuck.
Yeah, they're just going.
Yeah, like I mean, in terms of the lake making it bigger, you know, it's hard to say whether or not that was actually true. It could have been coincidence, like the storm could have intensified in those moments as it went over the lake, or the lake could have had something to do with it. It's hard to say. But yeah, like for example, Sand Springs, which is just west of here, northwest of here, is my hometown. Arkansas River runs right through the middle of town. And my whole life I heard that the river protects the town from tornadoes, right? Which I didn't know any better at the time. And so I always was like, I don't know about that, but, you know, I just kind of listened to what I was told and moved on. And then 2015, I was a sophomore, tornado just grinded right across that river, didn't give a fuck. took out the fucking donut shop, trailer park, killed somebody in a trailer park on the south side of the river. Like, yeah, it doesn't make
the old Dobak shop was in the trees.
Yeah.
Ooh.
And you can find a video. There's this guy which don't do this, listeners, don't park under a bridge in a tornado. It's bad news. But there's a guy that parks under the bridge right by where the donut shop is. And when he gets under the bridge, you can see the donut shop. The tornado goes over the top of him, and everything disappears. And then when the tornado goes away, the donut shop is no longer there. You don't see it get blown away. You don't see anything. You just see donut shop and then no donut shop. It's like, holy shit.
That was that was probably the same night that my crippled ass grandma limps her way to the damn storm shelter, and I had to go out there in the pouring ass rain storm and cut trees off my grandpa. They're trying to make it out to the damn shelter.
I don't think it was the same night because that tornado happened during the day, and what you're talking about happened at nighttime.
Yeah, I can't remember what that was, but I was ready to kill somebody that night.
Yeah.
I remember that storm you're talking about with the donut shop.
Yeah.
Because we were headed to Disney, and I was actually with Yahtzee in his truck. And we were headed down 51 from Oilton. We were almost to Manford, and we stopped at this gas station because the radio said where it was hitting. I was like, whoa, we're very close.
Right.
And Barnes and all them were ahead of us. They went past the donut shop about 2 minutes before it took it out.
Wow.
So they were...
I mean, you know, Blake don't give a shit.
Yeah.
They were
He'll
probably
ride right
coming
through
into
that
Sand
son of a
Springs when it hit there.
Yeah, so I'll tell this story real quick, and then we'll get off of weather nerd shit. But so my brother and one of my lifelong mutual best friends with my brother, yeah, his name's Davey. But Davey, like, he was born to be an action sports athlete, and you know, unfortunate circumstances made it to where he just never was able to live that life. But he had some roached out dirt bikes when we were growing up, and he would come down to the house and just send everything, even though he had zero ability on the bike. But he had no fucking fear. But anyway, he was always one of them dudes, if you told him not to do something, that's the first thing he did, right?
Yeah.
And he was always really into storms, kind of like I was, but he never had any interest in studying it necessarily, but he always liked them. Well, I'm in Norman, and one of my fraternity brothers says, hey, Dixon, you need to check the radar. There's a tornado warning for your hometown. And I was like, oh, fuck. So I looked it up. I said, God damn, that's headed right for my mom's house. And so first thing I did was call my mom, right? But then when I get off the phone with my mom, Davey calls me. He says, hey, I see this warning for town. Like, is it actually going to happen? And I said, yes, there's a tornado on the ground. Here's where it is. Here's where it's going. I said, I know if I tell you not to go chasing this thing, you're going to do it. So more like, for sure, go chase the storm. Like, I would do it too. Just don't get on 412. Like, go anywhere but Interstate 412. Like, that is the worst place to be. What's the first thing him and my brother do? They get on 412. The last communication I get from these two assholes is a video of them like 200 yards away from this tornado, and they're fucking screaming and freaking out. They're like, the fucking truck's moving. Like, we're going to die. This is weird. This is so fucking stupid. This is the last thing I get from them, right? I don't hear from them for like 5 hours after this, because after it goes through town, like, everyone's calling everybody, right? Cell lines are all backed up. I can't get a hold of anybody. And like, for a good 3 or 4 hours, I thought they were dead, straight up, because this thing was headed right towards them in this video, and they're freaking out. And I'm like, these fucking assholes are dead because they did the exact opposite of what I told them to do. And then like 10 o'clock that night, I finally get a call from one of them, and I fucking lectured them for like 30 minutes. But because I'm the oldest out of that whole group, you know, and I had to be fucking grandpa for a second.
They're like, it's fine.
Yeah. Well, they're like, we know we're never going to do that again. We're going to listen to you from now on. I'm like, okay, cool. My brother, still to this day, I'm like, Cole, you want to go storm chasing next weekend? We got some weather coming in. He's like, nope. Never again.
Yeah.
But anyway, so we heard about how you started riding. How'd you get into racing?
Okay.
And when did you start racing?
I started racing. Actually, my little brother started first.
So did mine.
My neighbor, Lee Mullendorf, shout out to him if you guys know him. He had a little guy, his name was Josh, that was racing 50s. And back then they were like modded P-dubs, you know, like, I don't know what they called them, but these things were legit. You know what I'm talking about? Have you ever seen them with monoshocks and a big pipe sticking out the back?
Yeah, I have.
I don't know if I've seen what you're talking about.
Well, they're gnarly. So anyway, you know, he's racing, and we've always been pretty close to him. And anyway, he tells my parents, says, well, you ought to get Chris into racing. And so, you know, he shows some interest, so they do it, and we're going to the track, and he's racing a KX60, and he's pretty good right off the bat. I mean, really good. And so we go to 59th and Douglas, you know, on Saturday night a couple times, and I mean, it's fun, you know, and and I'm not. I mean, yeah, I want to do it, but you know, I wasn't like itching or asking. And so anyway, my dad, he comes to me and he says, well, you know, I bought your brother a bike, so I guess I better buy you one too. So if you can find one for same money I bought his for, then you can have one. Well, $1,500 60 and a $1,500 125 are two different bikes, you know. And so anyway, I found this KTM. My dad bought it for me, and I didn't know anything about it, but I kind of thought it was weird that the Kickstarter was on the wrong side. And
I forgot about that.
it was a piece of crap.
Was the chain on the other side?
Yep. Chain was on the up. I think it was. I'm pretty sure it was. But anyway, you know, I got this bike and got it home, and I rode it around a little bit, and I was looking at it, I'm like, man, the plastic's painted, you know, and it was kind of a piece of crap. So I think it was a 90 model, and this is 95. So it doesn't seem like it's that old, but anyway, we go and race, and back then they had a first-timer class. So you could race like 5 times or something in the first-timer class, and 59th was serious back then. I mean, like, every time we went, Kenny Bartram was there.
Yeah.
You know, like, and he was the fast pro until it was an actual event. But anyway, that's kind of how it started. And at KTM, I mean, like, I lost a Kickstarter. I lost all kinds of crap off that thing. And
That sounds like an old KTM.
I finally realized, like, I've got to do something different here, you know. And so I went to the local shop, and one of the parts guys was selling a 94 YZ125, and I bought it and raced it for a little bit. It was kind of a piece of shit too. I mean, it was a lot better than that KTM, but it was just a piece of crap. But so that's kind of how I got started. And then my little brother, so the first year we went, we started in 95, and we went to the 95 Whitney National, whatever it was. And I didn't do any good. I mean, I might have got 7th or something, you know.
It's not bad.
Well, in beginner. In beginner.
Oh, they had a beginner class
Back
at the
then
National?
they had beginner.
Yeah. I guess
Yeah.
Ponca National used to have a beginner class back in the day. The NMA race.
Yep.
Anyway.
Well, my little brother won his first moto, and he won by a ways, you know, and I'm like I said, he was good. Of course, this is beginner class too.
Yeah.
And second moto, he's leading. He's got a kid kind of on him. And have you ever went to Whitney before?
Uh-huh.
Remember the rollers before the finish? So it was the rollers, and then it was like a switchback in the finish. Well,
They didn't have the switchback when I was there, but anyway.
Well, they had this switchback, and it was just one line, super deep, and he falls over, you know. And I go to run out there, and this guy says, "You touch his bike, he's disqualified." So I had to sit there and watch him, and he got passed. He ended up getting second overall, but he would have won with a 1-1 at his first national.
Damn.
And he wasn't riding very long. Like, that must have been 96, I guess, because it would have been March of 96, and we started in 95.
Yeah.
He don't ride no more.
No. He's got a bike. He's got a Honda CR250F, but I'll tell you this. So I had a what bike did I have when he was riding? I think I had a Yamaha 250F, a little bit older one, and he got this bike, and we're riding down at our little track by our house. It's actually Lee owns it, and he works it for us and all that stuff. You know, it's pretty cool. But my little brother gets this bike, and he comes down there, he's riding with me, and I'm like, this motherfucker's on me, you know, like he's catching me. Like I'm spotting him on the track, and I'm like, no way, dude. You know what I mean? Like, I'm moving, and I've been riding. Like, he just got this thing. And anyway, he goes down in a corner, just like slides out, breaks his collarbone, tears his ACL. And he
Fucking corner crashes,
he just
dude.
slid out. And I'm like, he's like, man, my knee's kind of hurt. And I'm like, oh, you're good. And so anyway, he's like, I don't know, man. I told myself, you need to sell that bike. And he's like, no, I'm going to keep it around. So maybe he'll ride. I don't know.
How long ago was this?
A couple years.
Yeah.
Not too long ago.
How much younger than you is he?
5 years.
5 years, yeah.
5.5.
That's crazy.
What are you like, 42?
I'm 43.
43?
Getting old, boy.
Yeah, I guess so. That's cool. So, I guess did you ever get real serious about racing, or?
Yeah, I did. So, I mean, I just really liked it. We raced, like I raced, I wasn't real good, like my desire was definitely more than my talent.
Yeah, same.
Or my skill level, and so I raced beginner for a year or two, novice for a year or two, and started getting good, and novice I went to Ponca, for the national or whatever, and I started out pretty good. I qualified at the national. Back then, there's 80 riders, and probably like now, I guess, but
yeah,
I qualified first in stock and second in mod, or vice versa.
In your runoffs or your heat races.
Mm-hmm.
Yeah.
And this is a novice. Just had a 125. I had a stock bike, and I'd put a pipe on it, for the mod class. And anyway, on the mains, I went down on the first lap, like on the start of one of them. It tore me up pretty good, broke my clutch lever off and stuff like that. And I finished it, and I think I got 14th in it. And then the other one, I got 7th. So top 10, I guess it was okay. But from there, I was like, okay, I can do this. And so 98, I went up to intermediate, and didn't do much the first year. I think I pulled out like a nighttime national win or something in the intermediate class,
Yeah.
And then in 99, we actually went to Loretta's in 98. So it was my first year, and we went. But 99, I was pretty fast, but I kept getting hurt, and so didn't really race the state series. I was trying for nationals. And so anyway, if we did any local stuff, I'd usually win it. But when I'd go to the nationals, I'd, top 10. And at that time, Robert Raynard had started helping me a little bit, and well, really a lot. But he took me to, I can't remember if it's 99 or 2000. I don't really remember, but he took me to every national that year. Like we went to Minneo's, we went to Vegas, we went to, I think he took me to Mammoth that year too, or maybe we did Mammoth the year before. But if I didn't crash, I'd usually get a top 10, but I don't remember exactly what I got at any of them. Nothing spectacular.
Yeah.
That's pretty fucking cool, though, that he took you to all those races.
Yeah, we've had a couple guests on the show that are like the alumni of Raynard modifications.
I mean, there's at one point, me and Raynard was pretty tight, I guess. I mean, I think Robbie himself, I think he always liked me, which I don't think he likes a whole lot of people. But I think he liked me because, like, I trained with, like, when he first started his training deal, I went down there one time, and back then I'm like a homebody as they get. Like, I wanted nothing to do with not being at home. But I went down there and trained for like 3 days, and he told me, he's like, you can stay. He's like, you can stay as long as you want. I don't know if he said you can stay as long as you want, but he's like, you can stay here. He's like, I'm not going to charge you. But I'm like, nah, I got to get home. That's probably one of the dumbest things I've ever said in my life, but that's what I did. That's what I did, and I went home. But when I was down there, I mean, it was cool. It was cool training.
Yeah.
I just wasn't. That just wasn't who I was, I guess.
Yeah. Well, I don't know. I probably took more than I should have. But they're so giving. Like Robbie's a little bit different, where he's not going to sit there and baby you and all that stuff. But if he sees a desire in you, he's going to take care of you. Especially if he knows, like, hey, if he's get people that are training there that he's making his money and he can help you and it's going to help you.
Yeah,
I think he would do it. But
yeah, I think this. I ain't bragging at all on myself, but I think that's kind of why he always kind of liked me, because, like, I mean, I had potential.
Yeah,
I never fulfilled it, but I had potential. Like, I mean, I was good.
That's a true statement. I'll back that up.
Well,
sure.
I just didn't have the desire and the willpower to put all the work in and get it done. But I think I had real potential in the motocross game.
Yep. No, I agree.
And you showed up on bikes that were haggard out, basically.
Left a lot to be desired.
Yeah.
Well,
so they
My
kinda
bikes
felt
were
bad
a
for you.
little trashy.
I think that's
I'm sure, Glenn, you've heard multiple times on this podcast about the multiple rear sprockets in his shop that have no teeth on them.
Yeah. How does that happen?
Exactly.
I'll tell you exactly how you look.
I've got a few of them. I can tell you how it happens.
You look in your bank account and there's $0.
Yeah.
That's how that
It
happens.
might go another ride.
I wouldn't. I'd be scared to ride.
I still remember.
I'm not doing it.
One time I was at Cooperland and I'm going. This is when they turned it around. I'm hitting the uphill rollers and I was on a KX85 and all of a sudden I'm like not going anywhere and I'm hearing this. And I'm like, what the fuck's going on? And I like something broke, and then it dawned on me that the rear sprocket was toast. It was just spinning.
This was on what bike?
A KX85.
With that rev limiter you just gave it.
Yeah.
What?
Yeah, I don't,
No, I'm talking about the chain spinning on the sprocket. It was going.
I don't know if you've
Like
heard
that's
this.
the noise. It wasn't the motor.
I was leading into something. Have you seen the new KTM fuel injected 2-strokes?
Yeah, those things
with
are
the rev limiter.
I
No,
saw
I
them
haven't
this
heard the rev
weekend.
limiter.
They have a
At
limiter.
AMP.
Yes, you have to look up the video. It's like a 4-stroke rev limiter on these 2-strokes.
Really?
Yeah.
There was a dude at
Sounds
AMP.
cool.
I don't remember his name. We pitted next to him. He had a new 300 2-stroke KTM.
I'd like to ride one.
I would.
He was
too.
like, "You should ride it," and I'm like, "I didn't bring my gear.
Yeah.
I kind of want
But
to ride
like
it."
no, literally, you just pin it, hold it wide open, and it hits the rev limiter just like a 4-stroke, but it's a 2-stroke sound.
That's pretty cool.
Real quick, Glenn.
So when you did that, kind of sounded like a 4-stroke rev
Yeah.
limiter, and so that's why I was
just so you
made me
hear,
think of that.
just so you hear this story, I was at Loretta's. There's a picture of me framed in my house, but I'm pushing my bike back because I ran out of gas at Loretta's practice.
well,
Shout out to Pops.
I was at Mosier Valley. I think it was Mosier had a national, right?
Yeah, they did.
Okay, it was Mosier Valley, and I'm riding intermediate, and I go out for practice, and same thing, same sprocket issue, but it's my front sprocket.
Counter?
And yeah, and so I take it over to FMF, because FMF was always pretty cool, and so I pull it over there, and I've got this pipe that Raynard's given me, and it's some, I don't know, trick ass spec pipe with a part cut out of it, and only the fast riders have them. And I pull over there, and I'm like, "Hey, I need a sprocket." And he goes, the FMF guy, he goes, "Where'd you get that pipe?" And I was like, Raynard. He's like, "Fucking Raynard."
Giving out our shit.
I said, "Well, can I get a sprocket, or because my practice is going, And he's like, "Fucking Raynard." He was so pissed.
That's funny.
So the FMF guys would have sprockets?
FMF carried everything.
Really?
Hey,
I didn't know
fast motherfuckers.
Free motherfuckers is what I was getting.
Hey, speaking of FMF, remember at Minios?
Yeah, I
So-
mean, how good do you know Blake Barnes?
Not very well.
All right, well, Blake Barnes knows everybody and everyone.
So there's
The
a
man.
reason
If
we
you're ever
call him
in
the
a, if you're
man.
ever in
Yes.
a tight spot, he's your guy.
So this is a perfect example. We're 2010. I go to Minios. Me, Supernal, and his family. We go just in a small little box trailer, and Blake Barnes and his dad go, and they're there. They went down a couple days early. Went to like MTF. He rode a couple days, and then we met him there. Anyways, I'm battling for C-Class championship. All I had to do is finish, I think, top 3 the last moto, and I endo it on the outdoor track and just wad up my pipe. It was FMF, and we come off, we're like, dang, I'm done. And I think I had another moto in the other class. And Blake's like, man, hang on, I'll be right back. And Blake's like 16 years old, probably.
5'4",
Couldn't be more than 16.
beard to his
And
belly
he's
button.
like, hang on, I'm going to go down and talk to FMF guys. He literally comes back. He's like, hey, he said, just bring that crunch pipe down there and he'll get you a new one. I'm like, are you serious? He's like, yeah, I talked to so-and-so. So I go up there. Hey, buddy Blake talked to you. He's like, yeah. Hands me a brand new one. It was a blue titanium FMF pipe. No charge. Took the crunched up one and gave it to me.
Well,
That's the power of the Mary right there.
Yeah, 100%.
But like if
I'll
I just
tell you this though, like if you're at nationals, generally, anything you have go wrong,
They will hook you up a lot more.
they'll hook it up.
yeah.
Especially if it's a
remember-
defect.
I do remember you had an engine blow up on your 450
Yeah, in practice one year, I think
at Loretta's.
Loretta's, my engine blew up, and then we took it to Cowie, didn't have the money, and then Jones's paid for it.
But it was like he
But
got
no,
like a new crank,
it was like-
piston, cylinder,
yeah,
all
it
this, and it was
nothing.
like less
It was
than
like
$1,000.
It was like a full engine. I don't remember what it was, but I know Jones' dad paid for it for us because we didn't have the money.
But it was still like
But
it
it
was
was way-
like half
way cheap.
of what you normally pay for all these parts.
That's awesome.
And they did it all there in their
I
trailer.
have not had the best luck at Loretta's.
And Cole wasn't sponsored at all. I mean, well, you were team green through the dealership.
I was
but-
always on like the lowest grade of Team Green, which is like basically nothing, but you can put Team
you
Green.
can put the
on your-
graphics,
You
yeah.
can put Team
Well-
Green above your number plate.
You got the demo bikes for a couple years.
That was an Ajax.
Not
deal,
through
though.
Team Green though.
Yeah.
That was just through.
I thought you were technically team green through the dealership because they still have that nowadays. Team green through the dealership.
I know I was Team Green, but I wasn't getting demo bikes because I know Team Green. That was just because, like Shep's. I don't know if Shep's ever gave me a Team Green. Shep's always was Team Green to them, but I think I only got demo bikes through a dealership, never through Team Green. The best sponsor I've ever had is SSI, and I'll say that until the day I die. It's the only free thing I've ever got in my life.
That's a fact.
Yeah, I can say the same.
Shout out SSI decals.
Shout out Ian.
Hey, speaking of which, we're a little over an hour in, so let's run a commercial real quick. Is your bike looking thrashed right now? Those beautiful graphics you used to send pictures of to your buddies are looking roached out? And you need to head over to SSI Decals. SSI Decals is our choice at Pit Racing for graphics on all of our bikes because they continue to set the standard for aftermarket graphics in the off-road vehicle industry. They carry a complete line of graphics kits for MX bikes, quads, side-by-side, sport bikes, snowmobiles, you name it, they make graphics for it. The kits are made from highly durable, ultra-pliable, wreck-resistant vinyl, and they're easy to apply. Their triple-layer, aggressive 3M brand adhesive will not come off, and it'll hold up to even the most unforgiving conditions. So if you need to freshen up your bike for this upcoming race season, head over to ssidecals.com, and they'll get you hooked up. If you've listened to this show long enough, you'll know that I love to talk about suspension, but we know a guy that knows a hell of a lot more than I do, and that's Marshall Plum over at Marshall's Racing. Getting your suspension dialed in is one of the most important parts of being comfortable on your dirt bike, and getting your forks and shock revalved to your weight and riding ability can literally shave seconds off your lap times. Marshall's done the suspension on all of the Pit Racing bikes, and one of the great things about Marshall is that he's always available for a phone call if you need help getting something figured out. With decades of experience in the motocross industry with both professionals and amateurs alike, you can't go wrong with Marshall's Racing. Give Marshall a call today at 405-338-8167 and get your bike dialed in. So you were just talking about Mini O's and the announcement stuff. Did you see that crash with Christian Janik?
I did. I think I sent
Oh
that
yeah,
to
you sent it to me. Yeah,
That was pretty wild.
yeah. Did you
It's
see
kinda
it,
wild.
Glenn?
Yeah, it's kind of wild how that dude's back tire just sent that other bike in a spin.
Yeah.
And it slammed both their bikes real hard, but they both landed pretty good and hopped
Did you
right
see his
up.
bars?
Yeah.
Christian's?
They were
Yeah.
all
Cowie
the way
did?
forward.
Yeah.
Yeah, and he had to finish the race like that. That sucks.
So that was Supercross, I'm assuming.
Yeah.
Yeah.
And what class was that?
I'm guessing
Intermediate?
250A.
So you guys,
No, I don't think Christian's in A class yet.
I think that was B class.
Yeah.
you guys have both been to Minios.
I've been to
They
Minios
have.
twice.
Me and Supernal have.
Yeah, I haven't been.
I went with him in 2010. I was C class. He was B. When did you go before that?
65s, long ass time ago.
I don't know why my family never went to that race.
I really
Never
want
did.
to, I was telling my dad the other day, he's in Florida right now. He's only like an hour from there, his house.
No kidding.
And I told him, I said, man, you need something to do. You should go watch some racing for a day. You're an hour away. She kind of had some stuff planned this week. But I've been thinking about it. I'm like, once Lake gets into racing the next few years, it'd be cool, especially Thanksgiving week.
Yeah.
Take a family trip down there. But I've seen that just like everything, like Loretta's, they keep extending, adding a day because there's so many entries.
I think
There was multiple classes this year, over 100 entries at Minios.
When
I think that might have been why we never went, because it was Thanksgiving week, and my family couldn't fathom sacrificing the holiday.
Yeah.
when you guys went, did it have 3 different races or just 2?
It was always just Supercross and outdoor, as far as I know.
So when I went, and like I said, I don't remember what year, it might have been 2000 or 99. It had TT, Supercross, and then outdoors.
I think the TT track's still there.
It was probably the most fun I had there was the turn track. I mean, it was fun.
I never heard of that.
I did pretty well on it. I mean, there's not really any jumps to speak of. There's a couple rollers, but it's just a bunch of turns. And they were awesome ruts, so like talking about game moto and the deep ruts and stuff, like these were deep ruts, but they were like the ruts you can actually hit and use.
It's really smooth.
Yeah. I mean, they got gnarly, but it was pretty cool.
Yeah, they didn't have that when we were there. It was just like 2 or 3 days of Supercross and then 3 or 4 of outdoor. That's what I remember.
I know the year we were there too, the shit was fucking gnarly. Like the Supercross, like the jumps.
What's crazy is, remember the whoops, how they were tough, and now there's no whoops there on the Supercross.
There was no whoops when I went either.
These were like, you either committed or you didn't.
I was just watching a video of Malcolm Stewart back in 08, maybe 09, something like that, and he was hitting whoops on the Supercross track.
Dude, one thing I'll never forget, and I can't remember exactly what he said, but America's favorite redneck, Hubert.
Oh yeah,
Hubert.
All right, so he was there. For some reason, like we were going up to practice, he was right behind me, and he said something like, "What do you got that feather on your helmet for?"
Hubert?
Yeah, Hubert, like that drives the dozers for Pastrana.
Yeah.
Yeah, he was there. He said that. I can't remember exactly what he said, and I can't remember what exactly I said back to him, but I'll never forget that.
You got to interact with Hubert for a second.
Wonder if he remembers you if you brought that up.
Doubt it, dude. He's probably slayed He's probably been to some shit. You know what I mean? That's probably not.
He's been to a lot of places.
But I just remember he said something. He said something like, "Yeah, that feather." Everybody brings up the feather. Everybody brings up the feather and the gloves. To me, it's not a big deal. It's just who I am. But to everybody else in the world, it's a fucking big deal.
Dude, still to this day, I figured it would be old news by now, but we were sitting on the line at Ponca. You weren't there.
It never ends.
You weren't at the Ponca State race.
Yeah, this
year.
past year.
And everybody on the line was talking about you not wearing gloves.
I've never understood it. Like, I don't understand what a fucking 1/8-inch fucking piece of shit
And someone
really makes a big difference.
Someone
but
said
it does.
Someone said, "Do you think he's ever worn a condom?" I think it was John Carlo. He said, "Do you think he's ever worn a condom?"
Yeah, I think it was us two, John Carlo and Mason Moss
Yeah.
and somebody else.
I think I said
we were
I-
all talking about it.
I think he tried it out a couple times and said, "Fuck it."
This
Like
is
the gloves. I'm out.
this is far fetched, but if I ever was an actual professional, like on TV, god damn, the storylines,
Oh yeah.
they would have fucking never ended
about no gloves.
over some bullshit, like a feather and no gloves. Like it'd have been an end of the world.
What if 100% paid you like $50,000 a year to wear gloves?
I'll throw them bitches directly in the fire with my OSU hat that somebody gave me. You know what I mean? Like fuck them.
Oh man, that's
I just don't. I don't understand gloves. I don't like them. I don't understand them. I'll never will. But that's just me.
Yeah. My hands get ate up even when I wear gloves.
What gets ate up? Your vagina? Like I just don't understand it.
No, like I always get like blisters right here on my callus. Yeah, and I have
You know why? It's like
I have thick calluses right there too, but
it's like so I'm the biggest bitch ever when it comes to barefoot. Like I don't do barefoot nothing. If you put me barefoot on gravel, I'll probably just lay there and die.
You don't have enough Indian in you.
There's nothing. I mean, you have to be barefoot to walk barefoot. You got to be no gloved to be no gloved.
I hear what you're saying.
But I don't know. There's something about the gloves. There's something about I need to feel the grips. Like why would you go out and spend money on a grip that feels cool if you never feel it?
well.
You know what I mean?
Let me give some argument for that. So, like, I've never really ridden dirt bikes without gloves, unless we're just messing around. But we go to ride mountain bikes.
Let me ask you one question real quick. When you're a little kid and you're growing up riding bicycles, were you putting gloves on?
No.
Exactly.
Okay, listen to this, though. So, I go to ride mountain bikes, and I always wear gloves. And so I forgot my gloves, and I'm like, oh, shit, this is going to be bad. My hands are going to sweat. They're going to slip off the bars. I'm going to die. And I rode. No gloves. Nothing happened. It was perfectly fine.
Yeah.
I will. I mean, I can't be. I got to be a little bitch though, because at Loretta's, not every time, but most of the times I'd wear gloves because I was scared. of my shit getting sweaty. Mm-hmm. And it's a 20-minute race, whatever, which I was a little bitch, I'll admit. But I don't know. Like, anytime I did not want to wear gloves.
Yeah, see, maybe if you were riding professionally, like hitting the outdoors and shit, you would have worn gloves. Those are 30-minute motos.
I could probably at that point get a good enough sponsor that would make me some grips that would guarantee
Just lock on.
that would be locked.
like glue.
You know what I mean?
Velcro.
Yeah. Oh, fuck. I had something else. Like when I was younger, we rode so much, like rode every day that I don't think it would have been as much of an issue. But nowadays, I mean, I ride like
The only thing
a couple times a month, maybe.
The only thing I'd ever get was the bloody thumb knuckle thing.
Yeah, riding pit bikes.
I would
yeah.
always get that.
There's always a dried, crusty ring of blood on pit bike grips.
That was the only thing I could never like eliminate, but everything else was good. But like one thing I'll never forget. I mean, I don't know if you know him. I mean, most people around Oklahoma know him, but Ace McCarthy.
Yeah.
His hands were just fucked. He was two gloving it, and he would have the biggest
Two
blisters.
gloves?
Two gloving it. Have the biggest blisters I've ever seen in my
I
life.
wonder if that's like two Jimmys. It's actually worse.
You know what I'm saying? Like index finger, middle finger. Like he'd have the biggest blisters
More friction.
in the world. And I don't know what causes that. I don't know. Like I said, my feet are soft as shit. My hands, hands are good. But he would have the biggest blisters.
You can still kind of see like the scar on my knuckle right there from riding pit bikes. There's like a pink spot.
I've got mine. It never goes away.
Yeah, I don't get it racing, but on pit bikes I always got it.
When I ride, like I don't grip like this. I grip like kind of like this
Inside.
That's how they tell you you're supposed to grip.
Yeah, they call it like a tennis grip.
You're supposed to grip how you win. However that is. You know what I mean? Because everybody's supposed to do something.
When they teach technique, they teach you to have your hands like cocked out a little bit, like Glenn's talking
If
about.
we want to have a little debate, and I just kind of want to understand your guys' opinion, but like, what about the like never putting your foot down thing? Because I'm not really a big believer in it.
I think it's a good training tool. I don't think it's practical like on a track.
I don't. Everybody's trying to do
Everybody's
it now.
different.
I just don't know. I don't know. It to me, if I'm in a real deep ass rut, like if I keep my foot on my peg, I'm gonna catch
Yeah,
pretty quick.
right.
You're also not going to be on the arch of your foot. You'll be on your balls quick.
Well, I mean, watch Tomac. Like Tomac's the king of doing that when he needs to.
No, Roxon's the king of doing it.
That's
Well,
what I was
Roxon's there too, but
yeah.
Tomac and Roxon both do it, but they don't always do it. They do it in certain circumstances.
Yeah, I mean, I understand it, but I don't know. It just seems a little weird to me. It's like you need to get that damn foot out,
Yeah.
hit the rut, get out of it, get back on your feet.
Like I said, I think it's a good training tool because I think
How many times did you race Branson?
3 times.
I mean, I ain't keeping no foot down in Branson.
No, definitely
I mean?
not. But those ruts are like Ponca nowadays, where the ruts are almost vertical. Like you don't get any lean angle in those ruts, which that's a different situation. And I think there's some outdoor nationals where you watch them where the ruts kind of get more like that. They develop more vertically than they do, horizontally, however you want to describe that. But
I always liked Branson.
I love Branson. I
I
raced there. I can't even count how many times
I wouldn't compare it to Ponca though.
Oh, I love Ponca too.
well, no. I'm saying like Ponca nowadays, the ruts develop more vertically nowadays than they did, in like the 2010s, 2000s.
Did you guys go to the National this year at all?
Last time we were there was 2020.
Well, I haven't been in a while, and I went up there. My little guy raced the P-Dub. He raced Cobra too, but we went for the P-Dub. And anyway, we went out and looked at the track. And of course, I don't know if you saw Kobe's post, but dude,
Oh yeah,
there was a dude, and this guy he's big, and he laid down that rut and he disappeared.
yeah.
That's how
They were
last time we were
deep.
there. That's how it was.
I believe it. Yeah.
And my little guy on a P-Dub got around that track. I'm like, how?
That's
In fact,
cool.
I lost what probably would have been potentially a top 5 in one of the heat races in the Vet Open because there was 2 lines. It was an early moto. You're coming from the back. You have that triple and like a roller and that tiny little tabletop. Then there's that switchback after it, right? That first left-hander, there was a deep inside rut, and then there was a mushy outside rut. And I made the mistake of following 2 or 3 guys into that first inside rut, and one guy got hung up, and I had nowhere to go. I'm literally like a foot and a half deep in this thing, like trying to yank my bike out of it, and I lost 6 or 7 spots right there. I think I ended up 10th.
It looked nasty this year.
Yeah, I believe it.
Which, I mean, a nasty first practice turns a pretty good track.
Oh,
later.
absolutely. Yeah.
Yeah, it's got to be shitty, a little bit muddy the first time you go around.
Yeah, anytime the track's good in practice at a state race, I'm like, fuck.
Yep, it's gonna suck.
Yeah, it's gonna be shit today.
Yep.
But no, back in the day at the Ponca National, there was a lot of loam.
Yeah, it used to be like I don't like the dirt now. It's
I like it, but I don't like it as much as the old style. Like the old style, basically when you would hit the finish line, and that whole straightaway after the finish line was real loamy. You get like real not soft, but kind of middle of the road,
right
texture. And then the next couple corners after that were pretty soft, and then it would firm back up as you hit the either or, hit that right hander, and then the back straightaway coming down the fence line was real soft. Had all those like sandy rollers and stuff down through there.
So when I raced that national back in the day, anywhere from 97 to 2002, that back corner back there by the start, kind of, where you'd make the right hander, and it used to be a pretty big tabletop or a double. Actually, out of that corner.
I think it was a double.
It used to be so dry pack and slick, like it is now, but that was the only part of that track, and it was usually at the end of the day that it would get like that. The rest would stay good because they used to have water hoses everywhere.
Yeah, I mean, I remember the very back part of the track, like towards the front entrance. I remember it getting pretty choppy and hard pack at the National, but the middle of the track was always really good.
Yeah.
One thing I think is funny, which Ponca's not really like this anymore, but back in the day, Ponca was like really small jumps. Like Ponca used to have really big faces and then a 2-foot landing.
Yeah.
Maybe 3 foot.
Yeah.
But like really small jumps. I mean, the track wasn't about jumping.
I wouldn't.
And Loretta's still to this day, a little bit not, but still pretty much there's no jumps. It's not a jump track.
There was a couple decent sized jumps at Ponca in the old style. Like the either or wasn't tiny.
It was fucking tiny.
It was like 65 feet.
It was fucking tiny.
Baggett
hit the either or on the roll line.
That was Stroop, actually. But
fuck you, is Baggett. I ain't gonna argue with you. But either way, the biggest jump there was the tunnel, and it wasn't very big.
You talking about the step down?
When it was a step down and not a step up?
Well, after you come out of the tunnel or over the tunnel?
Like over it.
Yeah, that was a pretty good size jump.
But I mean, still,
but that was pretty small.
At Loretta's for the longest time, the biggest jump was the fucking tabletop.
Yeah,
wasn't very big. The only thing that made it hard was all the ruts and everything else.
So you think the step down triple at Ponca was bigger than the either or?
Dude, the either or was fucking tiny.
It wasn't that small.
It was fucking tiny.
What step down triple?
So, well, the tunnel jump, like it was a tabletop where you could triple down it, right?
It wasn't that big, but it was. I mean,
like
it was really tall.
The ruts and stuff make it sketchy, but the jumps
intimidating.
Are tiny.
Yeah, I always felt like the either or was bigger, but it may be just because it was riskier.
The VIP was the sketchiest jump ever at Ponca, and it wasn't very sketchy.
I agree with that.
Back in the day, the Ponca National had 100-foot double for the finish line.
What the fuck?
I'm serious.
That almost damn near the flat?
Pretty much. It was like a 2-foot landing.
Ponca's always been like that. They have a huge face. Like, I don't know if you remember back in the day, but you come underneath the tunnel, you hit that huge face.
The finish line?
No, you come underneath the tunnel.
Yeah. The step down thing.
And then it's just a tiny little landing, but a big face. Like, it wasn't about it being hard to hit. It's just like you need to time it.
Yeah.
But I mean, you know what I'm saying? It's weird.
I miss the old layout. I preferred it over the new layout personally.
At Ponca?
Maybe I'm just being.
I don't like the new.
An old guy talking about the old days.
You old vet rider.
Yeah, I know.
I'll say I like and don't like the new start, because like I like the old start, but God,
the old start was lethal though.
It would get fucking sketchy.
The old start was I'm biased. I got taken out on it, so
that's what I'm saying. Like,
everybody here's had a bad crash on that start.
For some reason, like back
except for me, I never got to ride it that way.
Back in the day, I hated cement starts, but motherfucker, I could pull a whole shot at Ponca.
Same here. Lean to the left. Take off easy.
Don't know why, but I can do it. So that whole shot worked out for me most of the time. But
that old start, I was racing novice. I think it was at a state race one year, and on my KX250F, and I didn't really get hurt or anything, but it was like chaos. Like I was just flipping and bikes are going everywhere, and I kind of blacked out during the course of this thing. I didn't hit my head, but I don't remember it really. I get back up, finish the race. I come back to the trailer and I pull my jersey off, and Deep's like, "Did you get run over?" I'm like, not that I know of. And he's like, you got fucking MX-33 going up your back, dude. Like, I had red knobbies up my back, you know. I don't remember that shit at all. But yeah, I mean, like my brother for years would talk about this crash he had on the start at Ponca. Like it haunted him a little bit.
Yeah.
Ended his career damn near.
Some of my the most fear I have from racing dirt bikes is the start.
Yeah.
I mean, you know, rarely do I think about the crazy crashes I've had. It's usually the start that I'm like, well, there's a lot of these dudes going for it. Like, I mean, it's a little different now, you know, but that's what I worry about the most, especially like big races. You know, I'll avoid them. I'm like, it's not that important.
It's your most chance, I guess, to get fucked up.
Well, I think it's because like if I wreck on my own, that's one thing. But if I wreck because 5 guys hit each other and I'm the aftermath or whatever, then that's a problem.
Yeah.
Yeah, probably like my best year going into the Reddis off the start. It wasn't even like a packed gate, but it was muddy, and a dude just dumped it because of the mud or whatever, and his handlebar hit my arm. Compound fracture right there. You know what I mean? But I mean that's just racing. If you can't handle that, you shouldn't do it.
Yep, that's true.
I mean, you don't want it, but you just if you're a racer and you think you're not going to get hurt, then you need to get off the bike.
I think
that's all there is to it.
I have 2 like situations that scare me racing. One is like a Chad Reed style thing where you get head shake going up the face of a jump.
Oh God,
that's always freaked me out. Which is why head shake is like the first thing I try to sort out on a bike.
And you're riding a KTM too, which to me is head shake city. But
I really haven't had too many problems with it. I mean, once in a while it'll come up, and then I just speed the rebound up a little bit, and it normally sorts it out. But and then the other thing is, fuck, I just lost it. I guess kind of what happened to me at OMC.
OMC,
yeah, which it happened to me now.
Did you catch a foot? Is that what happened, or
no? After watching that footage 100 times, I was scrubbing, you know, and I think I hit a kicker on the face, and because my feet were so loose on the bike, it just knocked my feet off.
Right.
That's not the other thing I was going to say, because that's basically like the Chad Reed thing, right?
Yeah.
Well, the other thing I was going to say is getting like swapping really hard at high speed and then just slamming.
Yeah.
That freaks me out.
I've done that way too many times.
Yeah, I've had it happen too. And in fact, the first time I ever raced a 4-stroke, I was going through some rollers and I wasn't quite used to the weight yet because I've been on a 125 before that. And the ass end, I mean, it felt like it went 90-90. I don't know how far it actually went, but I saved it, but damn, it scared the shit out of me.
Dude, some of the hardest crashes I've had that aren't scary at all, but like you're at like a shitty little track or whatever, and you have a little rut that you're trying to form.
Yeah.
But you come into it hard, your acid slides out of it.
Yeah.
And then you just go straight back and just destroy your dome.
Yeah.
Done that more than twice.
Dude, I had when we first got the Cowies a few years ago, we were still living in Illinois. We went to this track called Joliet MX, which is south of Chicago. Really cool track. They had a lot of mulch, real black dirt. But they had some really good ruts, and there was an inside rut, and I basically just fell over, but I was going pretty fast. Like I was hitting this rut pretty hard. And dude, I hit my head so damn hard when I had that crash, but like if you were watching, it probably didn't look like anything, but it rung my bell pretty good.
Man, I wrecked at Moto City so hard. I think it was last year.
Yeah. Back straightaway?
Back straightaway.
Not surprised.
I was racing the 2-stroke open or something, and I had that 250 2-stroke, and I just got the suspension done, and I did not like it. I did not feel comfortable on it, you know. And of course, I get the whole shot or whatever, and I think it was Aiden was all over me, or at least it sounded like it, you know. And there's that, it's like a little double before that back straight, and I was tripling it.
Sketchy.
Yeah. Well, so I jumped at the lap before, and I was like, oh, there's a kicker right there, you know, I'm going to be careful. And so the next lap I come through, and Aiden's all over me, and I'm just pinning it. And I jump that thing, and my back tire lands right in that kicker, and it pulls my bars right out of my hands. And like, I saw it happen, and I'm like, oh shit. So I tried to reach up and grab them, and I missed. And when I did, I just laid down and curled my arms, dude. And it
cartwheels.
The front tire, like it swapped a couple times, and I just ducked my head and held on, dude. I rung my bell.
Yeah.
Like my vision in one eye looked like a broken iPhone screen.
Really?
For like 30 minutes.
Oh, that was probably freaky.
Yeah, I was like, yep, I'm done.
Dude, I can crash really fucking hard, but if I don't hit my head, like I'm tight.
Well, you know, I wasn't going to race anymore because I'm like, man, this is bad, you know, hitting your head. And then like 30 minutes goes by and it's all good. And I'm like, yeah, we're good. So I finished.
No concussion protocol out here.
That's whenever Kobe and I were racing at this little one with this picture on the plaque.
Oh, yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah. Of all the things that can happen, like hit my head, that's my biggest fear.
Of hitting your head?
Yeah.
Man, when I had a 450, we were racing OMC, and I don't know what race it was, but it was kind of a bigger one. Mm-hmm. And I was racing plus 30 at the time because I was 39. And I think it was Brunk and Albertson were battling, and I'm in third. And if at the time at OMC you do the tank jump and you would kind of do a left sweeper, and you would go to like a
Little step up thing
to a right-hander.
Yep.
And I had this 450, and I come flying through there. And, you know, there was kickers right before it because you're slowing down.
Right.
Well, I hit these kickers, and I just remember, like, endoing before the face of the jump. And I'm like, I remember thinking, like
you're riding the nose,
it out loud. I said,
going up the face.
I said, oh, no. And, yeah, what happened was the shock body came apart.
What the fuck?
It was some old roached out bike from Cheyenne Harmon that I bought. And the shock, I don't know how many times it'd been apart, but it was hammered. And I guess the nut stripped on top of the valving, so it was just a spring. So when it compressed, it just shot me over the bars. Like, I was in full endo up the face.
God.
I seen a video just like that not too long ago. One of you guys sent it to me or something.
I don't remember.
The guy got sketchy or something. He's like off the bike.
Yeah, I don't remember seeing that.
I swear one of you guys sent it to me.
Yeah, you have to find it. Did you crash or did you ride?
Oh,
that out?
yeah. No, I wadded it, dude.
Yeah.
Like
straight into that berm?
Yeah. So when I landed, I was completely upside down. I was going to hit head first.
Oh.
And it broke the subframe completely off the bike, broke the tab on the frame that it bolts to. It was pretty hammered.
Yeah. That's why one of the reasons I still wear a neck brace to this day. Landing directly on your head.
Yeah, it's
the verdict's out on whether or not it would actually save you, but I've been wearing one since I was fucking 12, so it's hard for me to take it off.
You know, it's funny is when I first started riding back, Jeremy Abney, I've known him forever. You know, as a matter of fact, the first set of gear I got was from Jeremy. He'd sold it to me for like $40 or something. But anyway, we came to OMC and I was putting some gear on. He goes, kidney belt? I haven't seen one of those in years. Because I didn't know any better, you know? I mean,
yeah.
Whenever I used to race, that's what you wore. And so
right.
No, sorry, go ahead.
I was going to say, I don't wear it anymore, but I just thought that was funny that Jeremy's like, kind of telling me, hey, bro, get rid of that thing, you know?
Verb Moto made a post, it's been a while back, but it was like from the mid-2000s, and everybody in the video's got a kidney belt on.
Blake Wharton, I follow him on Instagram. He just posted the other day about one. And there was a picture of him. He raced a vintage race recently, and he had one on. And he basically was saying, like, I don't get why nobody's wearing these anymore. They're cheap, and they help out. And I'm like,
what were they supposed to do? I never wore one.
Protect the kidneys.
They're designed to keep your kidneys from rattling around.
But it also, I wore one, and I could tell, like, with, like, my back wouldn't be as sore, basically. My lower
really?
back, yeah. And Wharton said something about your kidney, like your organs, basically, but also back support, which is kind of weird to think it's just something, wrapped around you. But
yeah,
I could tell back then
weightlifters were
using it or not.
Well, I've noticed I've been wearing the Chest Pro this year, and my lower back is way more sore. I don't know if I'm in a little bit different position or what wearing that thing, but
No, it's because you're getting old.
might be. But
You might need to be trying to.
But yeah, I think the kidney belts, like, honestly, is one of them things, like, it's not cool anymore, so everybody quit wearing them just because you weren't cool if you were wearing one.
yeah.
Right.
And that's how
crazy
the neck brace is
the
nowadays.
fads-
Like, you're a loser if you're wearing a neck brace, but I don't give a fuck.
And yeah, you look at every Supercross rider, no chest protector, no neck brace, skin
Most
tight
of them
jersey.
have chest protectors on under their jersey.
Yeah, them little. But I mean, that's strictly for roost. Nothing else.
Man, I didn't wear a chest protector for a while, and like when I did the 125 thing, It sucked.
Oh, yeah.
Eating all that roost.
I
So I'm
raced
like,
all of 2021 with no chest protector. And then I think it was like the third round of the state race this year. Mason was like, I was talking to him. I was like, dude, I was getting hammered in that first moto. And he's like, where's my chest protector? And I'm like, fuck it. I haven't worn one of those in quite a while. So I put it on. And it was a huge difference.
It was amazing, yeah.
Oh yeah, like the worst part at Janivers is when you're going up to that step up triple.
Oh, yeah.
You just get destroyed. And I remember I went out for the second moto and I was probably behind you or something, and I was like, dude, this is no big deal. I can like keep looking forward and not worry about it, you know.
That roost is rough there, dude.
Yeah.
I don't know if I use it as motivation or what, but I ain't wearing no fucking chest protector.
That's
Yeah.
for those starts. Is that where that whole shot comes from? The fear of the roost.
I mean, roost hurts. I mean, if you say it don't, you're fucking lying. But
Well, I noticed for me, like roost would be distracting for me, like on a section like that, because I'm like going like, you know, got my head down
Yeah.
trying to avoid it, and then I noticed when I put it on, I wasn't worried about that, so I just kept it hammered and moved on.
Well, I've been roosted so hard that I'm like screaming out loud because it hurts so bad. Like I'm getting shot, you know. Like, oh, you know. But it'll make you pick a different line for sure. Like just at that Glen Hill and National when I was there, the roost is like little bitty rocks, and it hurts so bad.
Yeah.
So I'm like, I mean, and the track's 30 feet wide. You can go anywhere you want, and there's a line there, you know. So
That would be cool to ride a track like that.
it was pretty
Super
wild.
wide.
Yeah.
That's what I've always noticed about the Outdoor Nationals. I'm like, God, that track is so wide. It's
You
crazy.
know what the coolest thing was is like no matter what, like there was so many bikes on the track. There was probably 200 bikes for sure every time you went out to practice. And yeah, there's guys all around you, but there's also lines.
You
like
got room.
in every corner there's at least 4 lines you can take
Yeah.
in the tightest of 180s.
Yeah. Then you think about the vet practice at the state series, and like if there's 30 guys out there, it's packed.
Yeah, and well, I mean, but you think about it, like in a lot of our tracks, they just get a little bit more one line.
Yeah.
But you can't compare our state races to Glen Hill and
No, and I'm not trying to at all.
Yeah.
But you know, it's just a contrast between
Yeah.
the two. You know what I mean?
either way, though, no matter how wide a track is, there's maybe 2 fast lines in every section of the track.
Yeah. Speaking of Glen Helen, tell us about this national you went to and won a championship, I hear.
Well, let me tell you this. So my buddy Les Hamlin, he's the guy that drove down. We went and we rode mountain bikes on the way, and it was awesome. But him and Brunk were both telling me that I should ride expert class, and I'm like, you guys are crazy. I'm not doing it. So I didn't tell them what I'd entered in until we got there, and they're like, what are you racing? And I'm like, well, I'm riding 35 and 40 intermediate, you know, and Brunk's like, sandbagger, you know, and anyway, so we're rocking along, and you know, I'm nervous at this thing. Like I go out for practice, and they have live scoring, so you can see how fast you are, and like I thought I was doing good because I was 8th fastest in my class or whatever, you know.
Would you say you're a good practice rider? Like you ride as hard in practice as you do in a race?
Oh yeah. I'm 100% in practice.
Yeah.
Which
See, I'm not that way. Like anytime I've had to do timed practice, I would say I race a lot better than I do in practice.
well, so I think it's probably like not smart to just pin it in practice because you end up just going to the smooth line right off the bat, which ends up being the rough line, you know. So
Yeah.
it's probably not the best, but that's just how I've always done it, I guess. But so we get to this national, and like I'm nervous. Like I'm thinking back on all the nationals I've been to in the past, and I'm like putting a lot of pressure on myself to try and do good and all this stuff. And anyway, so we go out and practice, and the track is crazy. Like the hills are so steep. Like the uphills, if you walk up them, you can't walk up them. You have to like crawl up them. And the downhills are just the same. So anyway, we get out there, and like, you know, the first time I go up this hill, it's pretty crazy. And then the first time I go down, it's pretty crazy. And so anyway, we do some laps, and I go out and ride, and they're giving 30-minute practices. And I'm like, all right, cool. So I do 6 laps. I do 30 minutes. And I'm like, what in the world, you know? So anyway, I ride the track. I like the track. It's fun. And So anyway, I'm talking to my buddies, like Raynard's there. You know, we've got a whole Oklahoma crew there. We've got Jaworski. You guys know him at all?
We've heard the name from some people who've been on the show, but I don't.
I know of him.
Yeah.
Well, I've never met him.
Open face helmet.
Yeah, I got to meet him there, and he's a cool dude. But he won. He won the I think it was like over 60 expert.
Yeah, I've seen that.
Like, he's kind of a bad dude.
Who put their shirt on backwards?
That was David Kane. So David Kane and I, him and Robert are really good friends, and
He used to run the state series, right?
Yep, that's him. Well, back in the day, I didn't have anybody to go with me to this national, so him and I went to Branson together. It was a whole thing, but it was a good time. David's a good guy. But anyway, so we're at this national, and like Robert Raynard goes, I think he races first, and I can't remember if he got second or third in his first moto, but it was good, you know, and I'm like, oh boy, I've got some, you know, I'm going to have to do good here. And so I go out and I'm super nervous. The plus 40s first, and I can't remember if there was an expert class before us or what, but anyway, so we take off. We're first gate, and most of the motos, they had 3, sometimes even 4 gates on the race, or, you know, 4 or 5 classes per race. So I get up there, and I'm you know, first gate, and it's first moto. I go to, you know, pick my gate, and I go way inside because I'm like, you know, I'm going to need to be inside here. Well, it's a 5th gear start. Like, it is wide open. So I take off, and, you know, about 3rd gear, I get a super good jump. I'm like first one out of the gate, and here come the 450s, and they all pass me, and I'm like, well, this is going to suck. And so we go into, it's called Talladega or whatever, and I go in there, and I'm in probably 12th or maybe 10th. And I come around that corner, and I just shoot to the next corner, and it's an uphill. And they give you 3 dozer berms to go up this hill, so it kind of spreads it out. Well, I go flying to one of the ruts and go up the hill, and I'm in like 5th. And I'm like, well, this is good. You know, this is pretty good. And so the whole moto I ride, and I think I'm in 5th or 6th. And I get done, and I get back, and Liz Raynard's in the pit, and she's listening to the live broadcast, you know, and I put my bike on the stand. I get back, and she says, hey, good job, you know, and I'm like, yeah, thanks. You know, she says, you know what place you got? And I said, I don't know. I think like 7th or 5th maybe. And she said, you got 3rd. And I'm like, hell yeah. You know, like, are you serious? And she's like, yeah, they just announced it, you know, like, you got 3rd. And I'm like, cool, right on, you know. So a couple races later, the plus 35 intermediate's up, and I'm double gated this time, or maybe I'm 3rd gate. I think it was like plus 35 expert was first, then plus 25 expert. I don't remember what it was, but something like that. So I'm 2nd or 3rd gate, and Brunk is one of the gates. So we're racing together. And anyway, I take off in this race, and same thing. You know, I get out there, and I feel like I'm in about 10th, and I get done, and I come back, and Liz says, good job, you got 3rd again. And I'm like, what? You know, so like the motos were super long. The first moto that I raced was 5 laps, and it was 18 minutes.
Wow.
And my best lap time in practice was a 3:20. And I think my best lap time in the race was like 3:20 or 3:22 or something. So anyway, we race 2 motos the first day. I raced plus 40 the first and second moto. Second moto I got 2nd. And second moto of the 35 was the next day. And it was pretty early. And I was, again, nervous, you know, not really pumped. And I get out there and, like, don't do very good. Like, I'm riding really tight. I actually fell over. I was in 2nd. I fell over. But before I fell, I was in 2nd, and I'm going up this hill, and I get to the top of this hill. And just remember, when you're going up these hills, you're 4th gear or whatever, wide open, and you let off the gas, and you're, like, about to stall.
Yeah, you come to a stop.
Yeah, and there, as soon as you get to the top of a hill, it's a 90 or a 180 or whatever, and it's straight up and straight down. So anyway, I go up this hill, and I hear this panic rev, and it's like right on me. it scared me so bad I moved over, and it was third place. And so he passes me. I'm in third now, and it made me so nervous. I was flustered, and I fell over in like 2 corners later. And somebody passes me, so I'm like, damn it, I've got to go. So I gather myself up and pass this guy back, and I get third. So I'm 3-3 in the 35 plus, and I'm 3-2 in the plus 40. And my third moto's coming up, and so this is Sunday, and David Kane is like race 8 or something. Well, they scheduled in a track prep on the last day. They didn't do any track prep, any of the other stuff, but the last day they scheduled it in right before David's race. And so he goes out, and he does pretty good. I think he got like 5th. And anyway, he comes back, and I'm like, hey, man, good job. And he goes, hey, listen. He's like, the track is smooth as glass. Just pin it on the downhills. And those downhills were baked. Like, they were so rough. I don't know if you guys saw pictures of that stuff, but like,
I've seen a couple.
Dude, when you're going down, it's pretty sketchy.
Yeah.
And so anyway, plus 40 comes up, man. I'm feeling pretty good, and I feel like I got this inside information. I get up there and get a pretty good gate. I'm pretty stoked about it. And I get a pretty good start. I go in like 7th. Well, those 3 dozer berms up the first hill that I was telling you guys about.
Can you explain that a little bit? I'm not sure what you're meaning when you say that.
You know what a dozer berm is? Like, if a dozer goes around a track, usually like on the outside of Elk City's, like right-hander, like after the start, that right-hander.
Yeah.
There's usually a dozer berm on the outside.
Right.
Just leaves like a foot tall fluff.
Yes.
Yep.
So you can it's just a nice, berm that you can bounce off of and go.
Right.
Well, so at Glen Helen, Talladega's a right-hander, and it comes back around, it drops down.
Just like a roller drops down, right?
It is steep as hell. I mean, it's big.
Then a left and it goes up the steep hill.
Yep. So Talladega's pretty steep. Even though it's not tall. It's
like a NASCAR corner.
Yeah.
It doesn't look steep, but it's steep.
So you do Talladega to the right. You drop down. There's a little tabletop which you don't really jump.
It's like a big ass roller.
Sounds like because I raced it in 2009 on a quad.
I would imagine it's a lot.
Doesn't sound like they changed that much the first part.
Right. So it drops down. It goes into a left-hander, and there's 3 lines you can choose, and they all have that dozer berm on the outside. Well,
okay. So like there's 3 berms in one corner, basically.
Yep.
Okay.
Exactly.
I'm following you. Like 3 optionals.
Exactly.
Yep.
So I drop in there, and these guys, like, it's right off the start. I'm in like 7th is what I was thinking. Maybe 5th. I don't know, but they're kind of like looking at where they're going to go, and no one's going to the inside. I'm like, fuck it, I'm going to the inside. So I go to the inside. I come out. I'm in 3rd. And we get to the top of this first hill, and I'm a screamer. I'll yell at you, like I'm trying to get your attention. And so I yell at this dude, and he kind of like looks over just a little bit, and I just shifted up to 3rd and pinned it down this hill. It was smooth. So I passed into 2nd right there, and I'm like, hell yeah, so I go.
So you rattled him like you got rattled.
Yeah, exactly, man. Like, screw these guys. I'm getting them back. So anyway, I go up the next hill, and the next hill, so you drop down, you go to the right, you go a little bit, you take another right, and you go right back up another hill. And I get up it, and I catch this guy, and as soon as I get up there, I do the same thing. I just click to 3rd and pass that guy. So I'm in the lead on first lap. And let me back up a little bit. So before the start of the race, I'm talking to one of Kiefer Inc.'s test riders. They call him Vaj, but I didn't get his name. And anyway, we're talking, and I was asking him if he's a Kiefer, tester or whatever, and he says yeah. So we chit chat for a little while, and right before we go up there, he says, "Well, how are you doing?" And I said, "Well, I'm in 2nd." And he goes, "Oh, well, you're fighting for an overall." I said, "No, there's no way." I said, I went 3-2, and the other guy's 1-1. He would have to get like 4th. And he's like, "Well, good luck, So anyway, I'm in this race, and I was kind of thinking about that, and I'm like, well, maybe I can get a moto win, like
giving yourself the best chance.
Yeah. And so anyway, I'm out riding, and I'm just pinning it. The track is smooth. It's really fun. It's not real ruddy, and it's still rough, but it wasn't like a couple days. It was really like track ruts, where you jump into a straightaway and it's just a it's just a rut for 60 feet. And so
Yeah.
anyway, I thought somebody was right on me. And so I'm kind of, I'm riding, but I'm kind of panic riding where I'm pushing, and anyway, I get done and I win, and I've beat him by 10 seconds or something. Like I pulled out there, and so anyway, I get back I pull over because Roberts Raynard was, he's there and he's cheering me on. He's telling me, he's like, man, you rode so good, you did good, you won your moto, whatever. Well, he said you won, and I'm like, yeah, it's awesome. And so I just go back to the pit, and I put my bike on the stand, and Liz like, you did it, and I'm like, yeah, I won. And she's like, no, you got the overall, and I'm like, wait, what? And she's like, yeah, that other guy got 6th or something. Like, you got it. And I'm like, hell yeah, it was awesome.
That's fucking cool.
Yeah, it was fun, man. But I'll tell you this, like, I was putting all this pressure on myself, like at a national.
Yeah.
And it's a vet national, dude. Like, it's so chill, and like the track is wide, so you're not sitting there like banging bars, but there was never that, other than that one guy revving it next to me. Like, even the pros, like one practice, they were like lapping us so fast. I mean, I think the fastest lap time was a 2:42, and I'm running 3:20s.
Wow.
You know what I mean?
It's crazy.
My last moto, I ran a 3:15 with a smooth track, feeling good on it. You know what I mean? And those guys are running, 30 seconds a lap faster.
That's insane.
Yeah.
That's wild.
When you say pros, you talking like big boys?
Yeah, like Brown. I don't remember.
Yeah.
It wasn't Brown that ran that lap time. It was it's not LaPaglia, but it's somebody like that. I saw him post it, but
Ben LeMay.
it wasn't
Mentioned
LeMay.
that earlier.
Yeah, it wasn't LeMay though. It was I don't know who it was, but
Imagine what a real pro is going to run on that track.
Yeah.
Like, you know what I mean? Like
You're
Tomac,
saying-
somebody
you're
like that.
I don't know. Like, I know that Tomac's a lot faster than Brownie, but dude,
Tomac's going to run fucking tracks around Brown. Brown's a savage, but Tomac, come on now. You seen him last year in the outdoors.
I would say maybe 5 to 6 seconds. You think more?
They were putting 5 to 6 seconds on Anderson.
That's true.
Anderson's a
Yeah,
fucking savage.
That's true. Yeah.
Anderson's a fucking savage.
Yeah.
I mean,
Well,
and Brownie's a fucking savage, but them guys
I was
are,
going to agree with Glenn, but then, you think about the last 2 rounds.
Them
when,
guys, like
when
Tomac-
Sexton and Tomac were
when
almost
the track,
a minute
when
ahead
the
of
track
third.
gets rough, Tomac just says, okay, I'll show you how to ride a dirt bike.
That's true. Yeah.
I mean, he goes faster. But
Well, and I don't know at what time that lap time was set or whatever, but
either way, like, I mean, you know how to ride a dirt bike. Apparently, you're not going to go out there and run the fastest fucking lap times. But for you to go out there and run a 3+ lap time, that's a fucking long, like,
it was
gnarly
long,
fucking
dude.
track.
And you know what's crazy is, like, you were talking about a track not have very many jumps. There's not really any jumps. And if there is, you don't want to jump them because the faces they're so
Yeah, I mean,
Destroyed.
most outdoor national tracks, it's not really about jumps. It's just about the track and the conditions. It's
I don't
just
know.
so rough.
There's some outdoor nationals that got big jumps.
I'm not saying there ain't, but I'm just saying for the most part, the jumps aren't the issue. The issues are just like going fast through a gnarly section.
Yeah. Jump. I mean, well, you hit a certain amateur level, and jumps aren't really a factor anymore.
They shouldn't be, but
Yeah.
I mean, there are times where, like the Rocco's Leap. I mean, most 450s they're smashing it. 250s depends on the track conditions, but I mean,
Yeah.
at that level, there shouldn't be a problem hitting the jump. It's
Yeah.
not about hitting the jump. It's about how fast can you go
Through the
section
corners, through the
before,
rough
you know what I
shit.
mean?
Yeah.
Stuff like that.
Yeah.
This is kind of off topic, but I was thinking about it earlier, and you guys didn't give me a chance to butt in. But did you guys ever do that step up at Gatorback?
Yeah, I did.
Step up.
No, never mind. What step up? My first year ever there was the Gator drop, and it was the gnarliest thing I ever hit.
Well,
At the time.
you remember watching back in the day, like, and when I say back in the day, I'm talking about like when Lamson raced. There was a step up, and you would step up and immediately turn to the right and go down the hill.
Yeah, there was like no landing. You just landed
Yeah,
flat,
you land to-
basically.
land to
and
a
if you
flat.
came up short, you were dead.
Yeah, and if you overjumped it, you jump into a wall.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I've seen videos.
I know the first year I would have been there, I would have been on 60, so I probably would have been I don't know,
Been like-
10, 11, like 12.
In like 06 or
12,
05.
13, yeah, but I remember the first year I ever went there, Stewart actually showed up on a 125 and did like a demo lap. But I remember the track, the way it went. It's like, so you hit the finish line, the big ass roller.
Yeah.
And I don't know exactly how it went, but I know like you hit the finish line, you know, made a big left, came around.
And then a little S.
Yeah,
and
then
then drop down.
Then you just hit the gator drop. But I think that's what they called it back then. I don't know what they call it now, if it's still there. But it was just a fucking drop off, like just into nothing. And I remember Stewart was like laid over fucking sideways going down this thing, and I'm like tippy toeing, shitting my pants, just getting down it.
So
I don't remember the step up though.
well,
It had to have been different.
you have to
than
watch
that
some
one.
old videos and see, because it was gnarly back in the day, but like they had it in for the national when I was there, and I did it. It wasn't that hard. It wasn't that big, but it must have been like like we had a run to it. It must have been like out of a corner back in the day or something. But
A timing type jump or something.
yeah, I mean, I don't know. Maybe it was bigger.
I was going to ask you.
I mean, what about Cooperland? Did you mess with Cooperland much back in the day?
Oh yeah,
So that step up used to be gnarly as shit.
yeah, it was big.
I mean, for me on an 80, that was the gnarliest thing ever.
When
for me on a quad, jumping that was scary. But once I did, it was one of my
big deal.
favorite jumps ever.
It was the hardest jump I ever hit in my
Just
life.
one of those, looking at it, you're like,
I
that
probably
landing-
ever cleared it. Like, I probably only ever cleared that thing smooth like twice. But I was always like too big on a stock 85.
well, yeah, if you think about it, like on a 125, 250, it's not a big deal. But it's
not
still a
that-
fun jump.
You just remember how bad the rollers got before it, like, you know.
Oh, it's you come out of that corner and
And the
you,
shadow,
you didn't just
too.
have a clean line up to it.
No, in practice it was so fun though.
First couple laps it was smooth.
Yeah.
Do you ever remember when they kind of took the track? Like, so where that step up's at, if you went further, I guess it'd be left if you were riding the track. But back in that section, there was just like this roller that was like extremely steep.
Yeah, if you went over it too fast, you're gonna die.
But they always claimed Marley doubled that sumbitch.
I've heard that, but I've never seen video.
I never seen nothing, no proof, but god damn, that was the sketchiest fucking thing in the world.
I don't.
So you're talking about where the big step up? It used to be where you jump it, you would turn right, and then come back down the hill. But then they changed it where you land and go left and come down
It
to
was,
this.
yeah, it was like weird section kind of back in there,
It
but
would
it
go
was
back towards the trees.
it's like a tree stump, like on the face, kind of. But yeah, it was like a roller, but like it went way down. So if you was to like not get enough brakes and jump off that roller into the bottom, like it's
Break
not
your
looking
ankles,
good.
yeah.
Yeah.
I never raced that part.
That was probably, thinking back, probably like 08-ish when
Something
they
like that.
switched it to that.
I remember too. There is video of this, but it's like a Corey Green like doubling the
The two
tables.
tabletops.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Like going backwards.
So this section stayed the same for a long time. The
Table.
the finish line was 3 tabletops.
Well, whenever I raced it, it was just one little tabletop, little. So when I raced it, like you would do that step up we've been talking about. You'd turn right. You'd do an off camber.
You're talking about the finish line?
Yes.
Yeah, no, we're talking about.
yeah.
Are we on a
talking about-
Cooperland rant right now?
All right, let's say you do the whole shot, make a left,
Yep.
and a right.
Then
We're
3
talking about
tabletops.
those 3 tabletops. They've
Yep.
always been there.
That's
Oh, when you
Cooperland.
come out of
Because
when you come out of the trees.
Yes, but there's been different directions, and then they moved the finish line from over on the
okay.
off camber down to
the
there.
old
Okay.
the old finish line was just a one small tiny
Single,
little table
tiny.
into a hard off camera.
Yeah.
And then
That's
didn't
how
it
it
have
used
a
to be.
tunnel under it to where you could go to the
Yeah.
scoring tower?
Yeah,
That's the times that I raced it was then.
yeah.
But
At the bottom of the hill, those tabletops. That's where I'm talking about. Green hitting that fucking double. or
jumped
whatever,
one
double
tabletop
table
to
to
the
table.
next.
For
That's
those
gnarly.
listening, I was in the John, so I didn't know what was going on.
I think I've rode Cooperland almost every position it's ever been. I mean, I've been going to Cooperland. I don't know when Cooperland first started, but when I first started, 50s didn't ride on the big track. 50s rode on the little track on the top of the hill. But
Where I
where you
sending my leg off.
blew out your leg, yeah.
Yeah.
I was well, we'll get back to this. Glenn's got to take a bathroom break, so
All right, did you guys ever ride the track when? All right, so the finish line, Glenn just talked about top of the hill tunnel. So let's say you hit the off camera, you hit the little old finish line.
camera.
camera, Nokia, whatever. But then you make a left, and then you're going back towards down the hill.
Mm-hmm.
There was a triple.
Yeah, we
Down the
talked
hill?
about this before.
Yeah, that you could hit that. Yeah, that thing was fucking gnarly.
Like the turnaround way. Like the big fucking launch down the hill.
Yeah.
Yeah.
That
And
thing was
didn't there
gnarly.
used to be a freestyle ramp to the right of that?
Dude, you can find a oh shit. Yeah, memories on that bad
Maybe,
boy,
maybe not. I don't know.
huh? Dude, you can find a video on YouTube. Again, I wish I had the fucking TV hooked up. There's a video on YouTube you can find of someone standing right there filming, and this dude just wads his fucking brains out on that jump. And that's a rough jump.
one
to
going
crash
down
on.
the hill?
Yeah. That's a rough
Dude,
fucking
no,
jump
I
to
would
crash
not.
on. I mean, you're doing like what, 50 miles an hour to fucking clear that thing, maybe more.
I don't know. It was a big jump. I know, like, the times I hit it, like, I always came away clean, but if you didn't come away clean, it's bad news bears.
Yeah, like
And then you're wide open into like a 20-foot tabletop.
I think I was still on 80s when that jump was there. So your boy never hit it.
I don't think 85 is making it unless Cinderella rolls up.
I don't remember any 80s ever hitting it. I remember it definitely being like a B and A class kind of deal.
It's just crazy, all the names I've seen at Cooperland. Like Villapoto, Alessi, like just everybody used to roll up
I
there.
remember Anderson was there one time. Yeah. That track was
So, Glenn, we kind of got off of Glen Helen, but I wanted to ask you. So, Supernaw and Dixon never been there. They've seen stuff about it. But when he said it's fifth gear into the first corner, he's not lying. Like, I can remember
The straightaway's that fucking long.
that long to where I literally, on quads, whatever, probably not going as fast. But I remember hitting fifth gear and lean back, wide open, as fast as it can go. And then you hit this corner, and I literally maybe let off the gas, but I don't remember hitting the brakes at all. Because it's just a big...
to me, it seems like it's almost like you're that wide open,
and
but then you hit a huge-ass bank.
Yeah,
so it's like you don't have no reason.
transitions. Yeah,
you don't
just-
need to let off.
Yeah.
It just kind of it carries
But
your
I remember
speed
the
around
first
it.
time I did start there, I was like, holy shit, I'm going so fast and just bank into it. But it's such a bank. Did you shift down in the corner? Because I remember I hit it in fifth gear and basically started, like, the RPMs coming down, shift down to fourth, and then fourth around the corner.
So I would shift down, but I was like going to the very inside. Guys would get weird there. Like, I think the faster guys would probably stay fourth and then go to third maybe, or I don't know, but I would go to third every single lap in that corner and back to fourth, then second for the uphill. But off the start, fifth gear. And what's crazy is, like, I'm grabbing gears and these guys are already like tentatively letting off the gas. Like they're, it was like, it's kind of like Ascot. Like
that start.
Yeah, it's
Ascot's
like
fifth gear.
Dude,
Like,
and it's hard to shut it down, especially when somebody's next to you and you're trying to out.
yeah, like that's me. Like, I will not let off. And then I get to the corner, I'm like, oh shit. Like,
Yeah.
like Gavin Delker.
Who am I going to bank off of, bull?
You're grabbing fifth gear on your 250 down that start?
At Ascot?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Damn. I think I maybe clicked fourth on the 350. Definitely not fifth.
Are you serious?
Yeah.
I think I might have hit fifth, but I remember there's been a couple times at Ascot where I had the whole shot, but I couldn't shut it down quick enough. and
Bro,
it
ain't
got
no
past.
way you're in fifth gear. I've never heard you get out of third gear in your
might have
entire
been-
fucking life.
I might have been
You're
in
doing
sixth.
80 miles an hour down a back straightaway in third gear.
Honestly, I didn't know 350s had 5 gears. To be perfect,
I don't think I've ever used fifth gear on
really
the
don't
track.
know.
I think I was in sixth actually.
6.
Well, I don't know, man. Like that track was pretty wild. It was fast on the start, but there was a lot of fast sections on the track. Like, it's, there's not very many slow sections, and I think that is more fun to ride for me than like tighter, slow stuff.
Yeah. I hear you.
I'd agree with
A lot
that.
of
I would be scared as fuck if I was actually in fifth gear, like trying to pull going down a straightaway.
Let me ask you this: what are you in fourth on Elk City's straight after the finish?
Yeah.
I may be in fourth then.
I mean, you're on a 250
Probably
though.
fourth.
You may need that extra gear. I don't know.
If you honestly think I could tell you what gear I'm in anywhere,
That's what
on
I was
track,
about to
you're-
say. I
you're
never
fucking
pay
high.
attention.
Well,
I have no idea. I know. I know first gear is something I don't fuck with much.
I mean, I'm not necessarily keeping track of gears when I'm
better be
racing,
tight.
but I know like I'm never in first, and I know like if I go into a tight corner, I'm probably in second because I'm shifting down.
You know, I'm really trying to think back of how that goes on the start if it's really fifth, because I
Take
know
off in
it's
second,
fourth tapped.
shift.
All I know,
shift.
I'm banging a gear when I need to bang the gear. Like when I know I need to go faster, I'm gonna hit a gear. But
I mean,
I
I've
can't tell
seen-
you what gear I'm in.
I've seen how long the Glen Helen straight is, and I wouldn't doubt it if you're hitting fifth
Think
on a
about-
250.
I'll tell you this:
Think about it this way: you start second. How many gears did you bang after that?
I don't count, man.
If you shift three
But-
times, you're in fifth.
It may
simple math.
2
It's
plus
just
3.
That's all
it
there
may
is to
be
it.
fourth because I had a watch on that like keeps speed and whatnot,
To
and
carry the one.
my top speed was 55. So
55 and probably some deep dirt.
fifth gear wide is like 70. Like if it's wide open.
Yeah, it's
On
that's
asphalt.
fucking fast,
I
dude.
tell you, at Gold Rush hit 78,
Are you kidding me?
fifth gear.
Yeah, and
Yeah,
there-
but that's the best conditions
That's
you
on
could,
asphalt,
you could
though.
go that fast though. You're not gonna hit that on dirt
Right.
unless it's hard packed.
Yeah, you can probably take.
if
10
you're doing
10
45,
miles an
50
hour
on a
off
dirt bike, like that's fucking fast.
Man,
Motherfuckers jump 300, 300 plus feet on dirt bikes. They're going pretty fast.
Yeah.
Hey, didn't Axel Hodges jump 400 feet?
No,
I think he jumped 390 or 396 or some crap.
When he broke his ankles?
no, I don't think he jumped that far.
I don't think it was that far.
I just heard a thing.
Like he did it
I bet
recently?
he did.
No, he hadn't long jumped since
Dude,
he blew his leg
some
out.
of his, not even saying long jumps, but his jumps he's built at his house where he hits a jump on the 450, just absolutely wide open land and just never let off.
Yeah, those
It's
are
got to be like 200 feet.
those are uphill though. I mean, they're huge. Don't get me wrong, but they're
No, I'm
uphill.
not saying they're 400 feet
No.
at all. But
Robbie
those are
Madison
gnarly
no
to
one's
me.
jumped that far,
Robbie Madison still holds the record of 346 feet.
which is a football field
over a football field.
that
Oh,
he
no.
did like 8 years ago.
Yeah, he actually it doesn't say the year, but it was on a CR
Well,
500.
I haven't watched
CR 500.
I haven't
Modified CR 500.
I haven't watched Kobe Rojal's latest movie, but he tried to break the longest record and he ate shit. I don't know.
he's
I don't know
gnarly.
how far he was trying to jump, but
You're gonna see.
So, Glenn-
so he was doing 102 miles an hour when he did that jump.
Got a listener that said to ask you about Chris Drummond.
that's old news. He got that message.
Chris is my boy, man.
Yeah, but
We
well, I guess we're all in brotocrossers, but
we were inseparable
That's why I
back
said
in the
that.
day.
We gotta-
So Chris Drummond's dad worked at Seahorn back in the day. Gary, I don't know if you know Gary, but Gary, I mean, this dude's he's been to the war and he's all hammered, and he's just one of those guys that won't quit, like race, and he doesn't even. I mean, he's hammered, but he's still rode, And
These guys aren't related to like the rich Drummond family in Northeast Oklahoma, are they?
I don't think so.
this the Seahorn Yamaha shop.
Yeah. So anyway, I never met Chris through there. I met him through racing, but we became pretty close friends for quite some time. I mean, we raced. I don't know if it was novice, but we raced intermediate and expert together, and we were best friends. And so anyway, Chris is a badass mountain bike guy now. I don't know if you guys know. I guess you don't, but he raced. On past once I kind of got out of it, he kept racing. I'm surprised you guys haven't
I've never heard of him. I feel like maybe the name sounds familiar, but
I know the name Drummond, but for different reasons.
If you guys know 04, 05 motocross,
well, see, I don't. That's
okay.
That was like we were just starting racing at that time.
And I didn't come into dirt bikes till 2011.
I'm
Well,
pretty sure, and like I said, I wasn't really around, but I'm pretty sure Chris was really good at like 03, 04, 05, as far as expert goes. But
I'm sure if JT Worldwide was here, he'd know him. That dude has.
He
like,
knows everybody.
He has a story about like every good dirt bike racer from the early 2000s.
One thing I was going to ask you is, so you said you got out of it for a little bit.
Yeah.
When was that?
I think 03-ish.
And then when did you come back?
15.
Yeah. So
Okay.
you basically,
So like our prime, you weren't even in the game.
Yeah.
like I was out of it
Yeah.
by the time you was
So
back in it.
You race with Steve Manley at all?
I remember Manley a little bit. I think did he ride Expert?
Yeah, but I feel like maybe it was a couple
was
years
earlier.
Earlier?
I think he would. Well, maybe not.
I feel like he's right around your age, but I don't
So
know.
I was kind of, I got into it late, but I would say I was kind of young for I shouldn't say young. I was immature for my age of racing, if that makes sense. Like I got faster. I got fast quicker than I got knowledge in racing. So I really didn't know anybody. I was just kind of, this kid that could do decent when you'd go to big races.
Who was fast at the races when you were in it?
Well, I mean, of course, guys like Raynard, Jake Martin was pretty fast.
I know that name.
Jacob Martin, he was good, man.
Rings a bell.
David Casada was a guy that was pretty fast. We were buddies too. I'm trying to think of who else.
Marley had been around then, right?
Marley was
Is he a little bit younger than you?
He's younger than me. So me and Marley had a lot of battles. Not because I was as fast as him, but he was on 85s and I was racing intermediate, and then he moved up to big bikes, and I'm like what I would consider pretty fast intermediate, and God, we battled. And a lot of times
When
I would
he first got on a 125.
yeah, I would just play the blocking game, like get a better start than him and just block him. And he's the one that taught me how to corner, because when I'd get behind him, I mean, it would make sense, and but God, we used to have some epic battles at 59th and Douglas, like Tuesday nights, just railing.
That makes sense why you're so, because, I mean, when I follow you in practice, I'm just like, dang, you hit corners, which I'm sure now compared to back then, you're not in your prime, but
I don't know.
I'm just
man.
like, dang, like you corner so good.
Well,
But Marley, like when I first, like this was back in the quad days, like I not even close to riding dirt bikes, but I'd watch, like I go to the arena crosses and watching Marley in the pro classes, like his corner speed was unmatched.
I was lucky in that I got to watch Marley when he was on 85s. Whenever I wasn't very good, I got to go watch him, and he would do the craziest stuff. Like he would charge down a straightaway, and when he would go into the corner, he wouldn't let off the gas, but he would hit the brakes. And I'm like, well, that's stupid. And so I asked him one day, I said, why do you do that? He says, well, the bike doesn't kick if you do that. If you let off the gas, and I guess it loads the suspension.
It completely changes your.
But I was just like, I mean, he's a little kid. And I was like, why do you do that? And he was like, well, it doesn't kick. I'm like, It's kind of like dragging your front brake in a corner.
Yeah.
Do y'all do it?
I mean, I've done it sometimes, yeah, but I wouldn't say it's something I do all the time.
Only if your front's rising, I'd say.
I don't do it at all. But Robbie Raynard, I would be having trouble, and he'd be like, "Are you dragging your brake?" I'm like, "No, I'm not dragging my brake." He's like, "Just drag your brake."
Yeah.
Like, it's easy. What are you doing? And I'm like, I'm not doing that.
Yeah, I don't know. They always say, if you start to come out of the rut, drag your front brake. And I'm like, okay, hitting my front brake's not my first thought. Like, when I do that, you'd have to really train that in your mind.
I was talking to Greg Albertson the other day and talking about doing corners, and he was like, well, Kobe and him and I were talking, and he says, well, are you messing with the clutch? And we're like, yeah. He's like, don't touch the clutch. And I'm like sitting here thinking to myself, like, my clutch lever was almost to the bars. It was so hot. You know what I mean? Because like I'm all over it trying to handle these ruts, and he's like, "Yeah, don't mess with the clutch. You're gonna upset the bike."
I know, Deep, you've never been a big clutch guy, really, right?
Not much.
Yeah, I don't know. I have the clutch pulled in coming into the corner usually, but then I don't usually mess with it through the corner.
Right.
But that's also because that's what he told me I should do. So
Right.
My biggest thing, I guess, Rainer taught me to drag the front brake in the rut deal, but I always thought if I'm in the rut and like you're in the rut, you get that sketchy point sometimes.
Mm-hmm.
My idea was always like more gas, get the fuck out of it.
yeah,
So I tried to do that as much as I could when it worked. Like, like you,
That's great advice.
I can see myself launching out of the rut.
it sounds stupid, but like, like if you're in a straightaway and you hit ruts, you get scared.
yeah,
My idea was always like, all right, go fast, lift the front end. Because I'm going to get out of it quicker.
yeah.
And I'm going to stay straight, I guess.
I mean, if you're coming into straight ruts, whether it's on a face or on a straightaway, I agree. You just need to go.
Like,
Yeah,
so
but
you see a rut, like you see a face that's really rutted and it's real scary.
Yeah,
I'm scared too until I hit it.
yeah,
Like I just gas it and you're out of it.
yeah.
If that makes sense.
Oh, it does. Yeah, I mean
Like,
that's what you should do.
me-
It's just
to me-
intimidating.
Everything's scary to me until I'm on the bike. When I'm on the bike, I'm like, all right, I'll just gas it and I'll be out of it.
Mm-hmm.
But I don't like Randy really did teach me in the ruts. Because I never heard of this dragging front brake thing in my life until I went to Rainer's and he taught me that. And it does, like if your front wheel's climbing, you touch that front brake, it'll jump back in it. But it's to me, it's the same thing if you gas it. Like you gas it, you get through it, lean a little harder. If there's a bank, you get through it.
There's more that you're not realizing. There's more to it than just gassing it that you're doing, but you're not consciously knowing it. Because you could tell anybody, just gas it.
you want to hear something?
Well,
crazy?
he just said like lean harder and gas it. I think
There's way more than he's elaborating.
that's the second half of it. Is if you're gonna gas it, you got to lean harder, for sure.
Back in the day at Robbie's barn that they had down there by the track. Back in the back, he had a trampoline with a bicycle with the pedals taped
Tramp
up
bike,
and stuff.
yeah.
Have you ever done it?
We grew up on those.
Not on his, but I've been on a tramp bike. Yeah.
Well,
I never have.
I didn't know what how that's going to relate to dirt bikes. But if you've ever bounced on a trampoline on a bicycle, you're stuck in that position until you get off the trampoline where you can move the bike.
Mm-hmm.
And it's a balance thing, And I think it directly relates to going through ruts because, if you get off balance in a rut, instead of doing what you think you should do, if you're on that bicycle and you're doing that, it's going to bounce you the other direction. And so it was really cool. I mean, I was telling my kids here a while back, I'm like, we're fixing to get this out because I need to brush up on my skills and you need to feel this,
I think I was 14 last time I was on one, and I wasn't thinking about shit like that. So,
Well, I mean, I'm like, why would this dude do it, And he's probably just screwing around, but man, it made a big difference to me.
I know one thing I used to fuck around on. I have no idea if this has anything to do with my motocross skills or not, but I don't know when I was really young, but my dad built like a baseball diamond at my house with like a round tubing. Like he built like a full blown baseball diamond
backstop.
plus a field goal plus like a soccer goal. But it's like, I don't know, I'd say it's like maybe 2-inch, like round, just round steel.
Pipe. It was just steel pipe.
But I would always walk it. I'd walk it like to the end and I'd turn around like on a dime, like just on that one tube, and then walk back. And like that was our challenge, like as me and my friends trying to
Shit
see
was high,
if
too.
we could walk, the whole
So
thing.
you're saying you would work your balance?
I
on
guess,
that.
yeah. And then there was like a gap, like an entryway where like the pipe stopped, and then like like that section stopped, and there's another one. But then you'd have to jump that, and then just keep walking. But that was the challenge. Like can you walk it or whatever?
Your feet were like 7-8 feet off the ground, and
But
then your head's 14 feet. I mean, it was high.
I also had like a I don't know if like it's not like a septic tank, but like I don't know. There's a spot on my land where the ground was extremely soft, but I made a figure 8.
That's where we used to
Oh
have
my
our
God.
pit bike
Figure
rides.
8s.
Yeah, and I had a figure 8.
Did you ever see it? No, you wouldn't have saw it when he was on 80s.
These ruts got so deep that like there was no like I remember one time my mom was mowing and she accidentally dropped a wheel into the rut, and it was game over.
And them things were fucking deep.
But
This rut was there for like, what, 6 years after you quit riding on it?
Probably, but I had
It was so deep.
I had multiple corner tracks on the land though that I used to just go and ride. I had a big track too, but it was rideable at certain times, but it was one of the sketchiest big tracks you'd ever ride. Like you'd hit a
Rocky.
rock that was like a rock that was big as a fucking I don't know what you compare it to, like like 3 bricks or something. Like you'd hit some huge rocks. Like it was sketchy.
I popped 4 different tires there over the years.
But I mean, that's what I grew up riding. I mean, that's just what we did. I mainly grew up riding pit bikes. Like pit bikes I had crazy good pit bike tracks at the house, and I think that's probably where I got most of my skills.
So
That's where the gasset comes from.
So he was talking about how he trained his balance on walking on that beam. I trained myself on starts on my reaction time. And I literally, like in my head, this is funny, as a kid,
MX Unleashed.
was training myself, yes, on PlayStation 2. But I literally would practice gate drops on the video game. But in my head, I was training my mind of how quick I can react. And I did over and over and over and over.
That's real, though. I mean, like...
And I feel like I've always been good at reaction time on starts.
Yeah, like anything to train just your reaction. It doesn't matter if it's a video game or something else. Like, it does help, for sure.
It's just kind of funny. He was talking about his working on his balance, walking on.
Reaction time's kind of a weird thing. Like, I've noticed that if I'm super nervous on the gate, like if I'm nervous, I'll get a great start because my reaction, like I'm super
You're
like
alert to everything.
alert.
Yeah.
But if like it's no big deal, or like back in the day when I would actually train and ride, which my training was just riding a lot.
You show up on the gate like just
I get up there and I'd be
race.
nonchalant and get a horrible start.
Yeah.
And so now, like, I'll like psych myself out and get to that nervous state to get a good start. It's kind of weird, but like it works.
Yeah, I guess some of my better starts have been when I was real nervous. So the probably one of the best starts I've had in the last couple of years was that first place plaque back there from
At
Swan.
Swan?
Yeah.
I
It was
think
40 people on the fucking gate, dude,
Oh
at
my
Swan.
God.
I was so scared, and I whole shotted the motherfucker.
I think all of us here get it, but probably most everybody else that rides dirt bikes. But when you're on the gate, the nerves are just insane. Like
Man.
I don't know. I can't explain it. Like I think I get a little more nervous now when I go race because like I don't really do it as much as I used to. But like it's insane.
I think your mind knows you're getting ready to go to war.
But like I think the most nervous for me for sure was like Loretta's or somebody or somewhere where there's a full 40-man gate. It's like I mean, you know for sure, like if you don't get a good jump, it's fucking chaos.
Well, and that was my fear at Glen Helen. I was so scared of that start. Like I was even thinking about it on the way up there. Like, what am I gonna do? Okay, we're gonna get to the outside here or the very inside. We're not going to the middle. And then the first start, I'm like, man, I'm a dirt bike racer. Like I know exactly what to do. There might be 40 dudes, but those 3 feet right there, those are mine. And if you touch them, I'm gonna take your ass out. Like this is my this is my area. And
Yeah, I typically lose all fear
as soon as the gate drops.
once it's out. Like I'll go in tell myself like, all right, don't try that hard. It doesn't matter. Like we're here at plus 25. We're at a state race to have a good time. But once the gate drops, I just don't care no more.
Yeah.
Nothing matters. I'm just like, I'm here to race.
Yeah.
I'll clean Austin out and Nub in the same corner and flip them off on my way by, hopefully.
It's funny. Like
You're gonna need a bike to be able to do that.
He is a fucking hazard on the course. That's
I
for
think
sure.
I actually saw him stuff Chase at
Believe
a
me.
race before.
Was that Ponca?
I can't give Chase enough compared to what he gave me. Like I need to clean him out at least 2 or 3 times, and then we'd be even. Because he's a piece of shit on the track.
No. You paid me back. So this may be what you're thinking of. Was it last year? I think it was last year. Because
Yeah,
it was my
last year at
first race
Ponca.
back after my knee surgery at Ponca.
Oh, yeah, that sucked.
I get the whole shot, plus 25.
I just ate shit. That was my bad.
It was second moto. And so, Ponca, well, you go under the tunnel,
left,
turn right,
little double.
step up.
Right,
Basically, you're in the closest to the gate where you come in and pay.
Furthest back corner.
And you turn right. It's like a right-hander with the inside rut. Like, you can go outside, but everybody's hitting that inside rut.
Right.
And I know Supernaw's behind me. I can tell just by the sound of his bike. And his first lap, I'm like, I know he's going to pass me, but if I stay on this inside rut, he's got to have to wait another couple corners because it's the last corner.
Right.
No,
He
he has no patience. Comes on the outside of me and just leans in and says, I'm coming in this inside rut in front of you. And this is second moto, so it's already dry. And I'm just like, this ain't going to be good. Sure enough, his front wheel slides out right in front of me. And so I T-bone his bike, do a front flip, land on top of him. So we go from first and second to last.
And then in the same moto, he eventually catches me. And like the last lap, that triple right by the start, almost cross jumps me on the triple. We land the triple, and then he does like completely, I mean, like probably 6 inches from my front tire going down the straightaway. And I'm like, bro, like,
I thought we were friends.
I'm like,
No friend.
I'm like,
somebody
you
else.
were going to pass me so fucking easy. There's no reason for me to die.
There was somebody else, Sal
So you can
Jr.
get back to 5th place.
Sal Jr. or somebody said you about hit them too.
No friends
Which-
on the track.
Yeah,
So
I get it, but I was deep down, I was mad because
I get it too, but
I would have.
felt-
You could
I
have passed
felt-
me. I'd have been in second.
I felt
Sweet.
that. Well, I had a good line on Chase. I just fucked it up. Like it was gonna work. It just didn't. I fucked
It was
it
too
up.
dry and slick for it to work.
Probably.
we were at OMC a year ago, I guess, and I'm
You- you're
doing
good. Go ahead.
Let's see here. So I'm doing that big tabletop or whatever the hell that is in the middle at OMC, and I think I'm scrubbing. Here comes Supernaw,
oh,
cross jumps me, scrubs, and whips it right like it's a dead eye whip.
you're getting wind off of his knobbies in your face.
But it's in my line, and I'm just
Yeah.
like, this motherfucker.
Don't give a fuck. But hey, but if you want to go to school, like
Hey, who have I ever cleaned out?
I mean, you didn't hit me.
Didn't clean him out. Didn't clean you out. Cleaned myself and him out, but he deserved that. Believe me.
You didn't clean me out, but you took me out.
Hey, believe me, he deserved it.
what I was gonna say is, if you ever want to go to school on scrubbing, definitely hit a jump next to Supernaw because he'll beat you by at least 2 feet
Okay, so
at a minimum.
I was at OMC here a while back and like feeling like I'm riding pretty good, right? And I hear somebody on me. And we're coming up towards the finish, that like step up double or whatever it is before you take the left. I don't know how it is now, but anyway, so I'm coming up to it and I hear this bike, so I'm like, nope. So I go scrub it, and it's cane wood,
Oh yeah,
and dude, like.
laid
was
it down.
3 feet lower than me. I was just like, fuck,
Yeah,
this kid.
there's a video
He
from
was flying.
We've been over this a couple times on the show, but there's a video from Ponca where me and him hit that tabletop going down the back straight together, and I kind of dead sailored it because there was a bunch of people around and I was a little scared. He obviously wasn't. Through a scrub, and I'm not
You
shitting
normally dead sailor, just
I-
on the regs.
Whatever, Chase. I'm looking down at him in the air. I'm like, fuck.
So what's this? What are we looking at here?
Oh, this is Natalie got that start from Swan I was talking about on video. Hit the space bar, Chase.
Yeah, Kane. I've noticed lately he's getting some style.
He's been on the
getting
gas,
loose.
dude.
Look at all those fools. Listen to Natalie. You can hear her here in a second.
Was that you on the outside?
Right there in the front.
Yeah.
Not bad. Taught you everything I know.
I haven't been to Swan in a long time.
Natalie says, pit racing for the whole shot.
That's awesome.
That's funny.
So Carson got him a little first moto win at the Ponca National pit bike race.
Oh, yeah?
Seen
Yeah.
that. That's
Hell yeah.
awesome.
Dude, we about got in a fucking brawl at that damn thing in 2020.
It was wild over there.
Some guy trying to cheat.
Well, yeah, this dude, like, he goes off the bridge. I won the race. He goes off the bridge, like, doesn't even do the last lap, and just cuts all the way across the track and goes across the finish line. And they counted him as the winner.
They didn't catch it. Yeah.
They counted him as the winner. And I went up and I said, hey, guys.
No, you forget. I hobbled over there.
Yeah.
My bad knee.
Me, him, and Blake are like, hey, this motherfucker didn't even finish the race, and you're counting him as the winner. And then, like, they're fucking hollering, and everybody's getting wound up. And
he's got lippy with me.
He's got like 8-10 beers in him, and if you get that going on, he's ready to fight everybody. And it always happens when he's fucking injured. It's like the third time that we've been friends that he's had some kind of injury and he's trying to fight.
I'm at my best fighting.
Got enough liquid courage is what it was.
Yeah. Remember Pap too snuck up on the scooter.
Yeah, he did. Left me high and dry.
Now, what you just said hit home way too much, though.
About what?
Chase trying to fight when he's injured.
Oh, I know.
I had to pull him out of the pile before.
Yeah. Have we told that story? I don't know.
I don't even know if it's worth telling, but God damn.
There was a fight.
I'll never forget that night.
There was a fight one night, and he's got a broken humerus, right?
That I already cut the cast off once.
Yeah, his whole arm is in a cast, and there's this fight going on between like 3 other people, and he fucking jumps in the pile.
His ex-wife at the time.
And next thing you know, he's on.
This is the Supernova family.
Yeah, he's on.
I got some notorious land.
In a matter of, I wasn't gonna air all that shit out, but whatever. In a matter of like 15 seconds, he's on the bottom of the pile.
Pull me out.
And me and him are just sitting there watching, like, what the fuck? And he's laying on the bottom of the pile, and he goes, "Pull me out!" And he's drunk as fuck, you know. But like, same shit, fucking fucked off, got something broken or torn or whatever, and he's trying to fight.
I mean,
I wasn't trying to fight. I was standing up for you, and then the guy got lippy.
He always has good intentions.
Oh no, at the Ponca thing, yeah, for sure. But
I mean,
that guy came at me.
Yeah,
anywhere intentions are good.
Yeah,
just
I'm not saying it was unjustified by any means. The night I was just talking about, probably should have stayed out of that one. But
the Ponca Pit Bike Nationals, though, they went pretty hard.
Yeah. Wasn't there like actually something kind of cool on the line if you won?
Bragging rights. As far
Is
as
that
I
all
know.
it-
I don't know.
all it was?
I don't remember this year.
Yeah, I don't know. All I know is I wanted to fucking win.
I made like I think I made $1,000 though, KTM.
Yeah, from the championships. Yeah, I made it to the main in the pit bike race, like the final showdown. I think I got 3rd or something. But yeah.
So I was talking with Kobe. He called me. He's like, "Hey, congrats on the the win or whatever." And I was like, "Thanks." And he goes, "Well, hey, what'd you get contingency wise?" And I'm like, "Oh, I don't know. I'm not entered in any of that stuff." He's like, "Dude, you gotta check it out."
If you sign up, I think they'll back pay you for it.
KTM hasn't back paid me from, what was it, Moto City. I signed up afterwards.
Yeah.
Like a few weeks ago.
They take forever.
It's really slow. It's really slow.
Because I got 3rd. It's like $75.
Does Yamaha have contingency?
I don't know.
Well,
I'm sure they do, but
so on KTM's website, it claims that they pay for all the state races, but I don't know if they do.
Not all of them. It shows. When I looked the other day, it's not all of them, but it's the majority.
It used to be all of
It
them.
used to be all
But,
of them. Because
Yeah,
in
like that
2021,
race, I'm sure that race paid more than just a state race.
Yeah.
You got to understand though. You're riding a Yamaha. It's not a KTM.
Well, they don't have to give money to people to ride them.
Yamaha doesn't like to give money though.
got him.
No, but
Back in the day,
it
I
is
made-
like the contingency thing. Like it used to be huge back. In
I
the
mean,
day. Now
Cowie-
it's
Cowie-
like
when
like
I
state
was-
race 150 for win, 100 for second, 75 for third. I think is what KTM is.
That's awesome though.
But yeah, you get that a few times, and you can go to the dealership and buy all your oil and everything you need to take care of your bikes.
All of my maintenance parts last year were covered by KTM.
Golly.
Every single one of them.
I still have KTM bucks right now.
Yeah,
I
I think
should probably
Yeah,
sign up.
because when he raced Ponca, I think it was what 500
I thought it was 600 a class. I won both classes, so I made $1,200.
Especially with like you're normally.
Plus, I made like a couple hundred from the state series.
Yeah, Glenn, you're normally really competitive at the state races. Like you need to sign up.
Yeah,
because
if Yamaha has something, I don't know what Yamaha has.
And
Surely
there
they
is
have
stipulations though, like KTM, there has to be a minimum of 6 riders. In the class.
Yeah, and you have to have a bike that's within the last 2 years.
3 years. KTM this year for 2022,
they made it 3 years.
You could ride a 20, 21, or 22.
Okay, but I know like last year when I was on the podium almost every moto, I think I made like fucking $1,200 from the state series.
I need to do it.
Yeah, because I mean I bought so many sets of chains and sprockets and oil and filter oil and fucking
like
all kinds of shit.
Back when I was on 80s, I could make $500 at each state race. When I was on 85s,
That's crazy.
For Kawasaki.
You know,
it used to be like,
and back then it was a Visa that you could just spend anywhere.
how many hours you guys put on a bike a year?
you don't even want to know what I put on mine, honestly.
Well,
I've had mine since August of 2020, and it's got like 65 hours on it.
I put 20 hours on my 250 two-stroke in a year.
Yeah,
I put 23 or 25 on mine.
I put
Last one.
I put exactly.
crazy?
It's crazy, yeah.
I put exactly 43 hours in 3 years on the bike I just sold.
Where back
So
in the day, 43
touched
hours would be like
A week.
2 months.
yeah, it's definitely different nowadays.
Yeah, for sure. It's a vet rider's problem.
I know, right?
And it ain't a problem.
It's a good problem to have if you're getting new bikes.
Believe me.
Yeah, no
or
kidding.
reselling them. I was tempted to get into a little discussion about this whole social media thing that blew up a few weeks ago about the state series.
Yeah,
I feel like we need to touch on that. This is the main podcast that discusses the Oklahoma State Championship.
What blew up?
You might not have seen any of it, but
I mean, I know. Well, actually, I don't know. What are you gonna say?
well,
We're already 2 hours, 35 minutes.
We got time.
This is like a 3-hour discussion.
No, we got time.
we're just going to touch on it for an hour or two.
So you know the OSCS members only Facebook group?
Yeah, that Colby Sharp's head honcho on.
Yeah. So he got the discussion fired back up after Moto City because
I mean, I know
Moto City was fucking bad.
I know he fired it back up, and then
It was a shit show Saturday. The rain saved him on Sunday, and it was actually,
There was no rain on Sunday.
yeah. No, didn't it rain Saturday night?
I don't think so.
Yeah.
If it did, it was like a dribble.
The track was good Sunday.
At Moto City?
Yes. Yes. The
Were we
second
riding
time.
the same fucking track?
Oh, I'm sorry. I'm thinking of Ascot.
Ascot, I hear you. Moto City? No.
I thought he got it fired up after Ascot, though.
no, yeah, he did.
Was it?
He was pissed at fucking Ascot. That's when he started his rant,
Oh, maybe it was. But I know Moto City.
and then it was good.
Moto
Moto
City
City
for
was-
And
me
then it
was
was
like,
good. I don't know about Moto City, but I know he fired up after Ascot, and then it did rain, and then it was good.
Yeah.
Just like
Yep.
Glenn just said.
Yeah. Moto City was bad though. Like it was, I mean, like the one benefit of the doubt I give them is that it was the worst drought Oklahoma's seen in 100 years and they had no water. But
Well, I mean, once we get deeper into this, I'll give my thoughts, but I just want to hear what you got to say about this first off.
yeah, well, it's the same old song and dance, but I mean, it's basically like, you know, there's better tracks out there that need to be a part of this series. We need to reorganize the structure of the weekend. Like this last paragraph, he says, we do have a few tracks that are pretty good and are taken care of like a real track should be. I'm going to try and toss some new ideas out at the people in this group when I get some time. I've spoken to some people and we've come up with a few new ideas that might make things a little better and eliminate the shit events that are on the state series agenda. Nobody likes change, but it's going to have to happen, or this series is just going to continue going downhill, and people are going to continuously boycott the Oklahoma State Championship Series. And then there's this whole discussion in the comments. Like, for example, this guy says the tracks suck, but that's the target audience they're looking for. It's a beginner series. The beginners will bitch if the track is too rough. That's why they got rid of the AMA sanction and all the tracks are smooth. What they don't understand is if you had a rough, rutted track and an AMA plate at the end of the season, they would get people from all over to come race, actual competitive riders. And that's, I guess, sort of the main point of contention, other than the other primary bullet point was that riders don't feel like they have a voice in the series in terms of getting their opinion heard on, how things could be better. A lot of the track owners are very much, this is the way we do things and no one else is going to tell us how to do it, sort of thing. And I don't know. I agree that a lot of the track conditions this year were pretty poor at several of the rounds, but I don't know if it's true that if all of a sudden we had, more tracks than not that were rough and rutted, that if all of a sudden we would have 600-700 entries. I don't know.
I mean, what I would say, I guess, is I guess first off, like, I'm almost thankful that we have as many tracks as we do.
Mm-hmm.
Because I don't know who the fuck's out here making tracks, like dirt bike tracks. I don't think they're making any money.
Yeah.
You know what I mean? So, like, I'm at least thankful that we have this many tracks in Oklahoma. Mm-hmm. We have quite a bit of tracks.
Yeah.
As far as, like, other tracks that we can bring in, I don't know who he's talking about or who we're trying to bring in. The only thing the only tracks I can think we're trying to bring in is TMX and, like, I guess Game Moto, but I don't know that he's trying to.
No, I don't think he's shooting for that necessarily.
He's not trying to bring that track in, so I don't know any tracks we're trying to bring in.
The ones that got brought up were TMX.
I would like to see TMX brought in just because, like, I live, 10 minutes from there.
Something like Twin Hills, or
Twin Hills is a candidate. Sweet 16 we tried to bring in, it just didn't work out this year.
Right.
I feel like it would have been a good one.
Yeah, I think it would have been.
Circumstances didn't work out.
Hopefully next year, we can get that in there.
And honestly, so I almost chimed in on this page, but I've actually kind of, like, I read the stuff, but I feel like it's gotten to a point where it's more of just a bitching about this and bitching about that.
Yeah, no, I'm trying to hit on the points that were actually legit. Not
so
just the whining.
I kind of bit my tongue, but
a lot of it's just whining.
A lot of people, TMX has been on the series and off the series over the last 15 years. But lately, like, a lot of people haven't been going lately. It's been dead when I do go.
TMX?
Yeah. If you went in the last year, like 6 months, I think you would you'd be impressed what Tim's done with it.
No, I'm trying to get it back. I think
trying to hype him up at all, but
I think it'd be awesome to get it back.
I honestly, like, for the turnouts, I mean, like, you go to Norman on a Thursday night, there's at least 100 riders there or close to it. You go to TMX on a Tuesday, they'll open Tuesday night, Thursday night, or depending on the weather, they'll do one, and then 2 days on the weekends. But you go there, some days there's 30 riders there.
Yeah, but Norman,
25 riders.
Norman for a nighttime practice is like a A- level track. Like, it's fucking pretty.
Well, I'm just
good.
saying, like, I feel for the track
For
owner,
Thursday nights, really good.
Yeah.
for the track owner at TMX, say you get 30 people or maybe 40, and you spend all that time in diesel and the price of everything right now.
Yep.
Like,
hard to make money.
Yeah, they're not making money, and so. And he keeps making track better and better. And when I go, I'm like, dang, this is actually pretty good. Why is there not more people here?
Yeah.
And so I kind of, like, I would vote for them to get back on the series because he's obviously made the track a lot better.
I honestly think, though, too, that there's not as many riders in the Tulsa area as there used to be.
Yeah, I agree.
Not because of any certain thing. There's just not as many as there used to be.
I definitely feel like OKC is a bigger market right now.
Yeah.
I mean, like, almost all of our friends at the track are from the OKC area.
If TMX had a state race, I still think a lot of people would show up.
I don't know.
Well,
I mean,
if I'm going to drive to Ascot, then I'm going to come to Tulsa. You know what
there's
I mean?
a lot that
I've never
don't
even
drive
been
to
Tulsa.
Ascot.
Yeah, but, like, okay, so let me give you this. Okay, so I'm a vet rider, and I do like the track a little rougher. Like, do I like it like Game Moto? I don't know. Like, I'm not good on it, but it is good practice, especially if you're really trying to teach your kid to go to nationals. That's great. But for some of these kids, they'll never see a national. You know what I mean? Like, I have a P-Dub rider, I have an 85 rider, and I'm a vet rider. Mm-hmm. So I've got a pretty good mix of who's going to be racing.
Yeah.
Mm-hmm.
Did I think some of the tracks this year could have done a little better job? Yeah. But then I look at myself and I go, well, could I have done a better job every once in a while? Yeah. Have I failed whenever there was pressure on me? Yeah. So is it really that big a deal? Now, I do think that there might be something come of the members only page, that maybe some of this will get heard and they may make some changes, but it did blow up a little bit, and then they started trying to change the whole structure, which, I mean, maybe it would work, but it's not going to work with the same people, trying to run it with other people's ideas.
Yeah.
It's going to have to be a committee that works on it together.
I mean, what do we want?
Well,
What do we want out of the state series?
I think the biggest point of condition is track conditions.
Yeah.
100%. Like,
I mean, for me personally, this is just me, but as long as it ain't just like a dusty shithole, I'm fine.
a lot of
I
races
don't
this
care.
year were a dusty shithole, though.
I don't
That's the
care.
problem.
I don't care if it's like dry, not very many ruts, whatever. But I mean, you just don't. The main thing, you just don't want to just like dusty
Well, this is
shitholes.
Cole. This is what you were asking what we want. The way the series is set up right now, each track that's on the series, like when we went to Moto City, track conditions were horrible and everybody's griping. And Brad Rogers and Marshall both see that, and people come to them griping, and they basically have their hands up in the air and they say,
There's nothing we can do.
nothing we can do.
Yeah.
This is out of our hands. It's up to the track owner to run this race. Am I wrong? When
No.
No, not at all.
Track,
Like,
the
this
track
is
paid to have that race.
Yeah, this is one of the big issues is that, like, this post says Brad Rogers and Marshall Plum have no say in what happens or gets changed in our series. It's all up to the board of track owners and track conditions, and then the fact that the track owners are the main ones who determine how things run. Those are the two biggest points of contention for people that are in these discussions.
And so for anything to change, it's going to have to change where the track owners don't have the say. It's the riders or the members
Yeah.
of the series have the say.
Right. If a track wants to be a part of the series, everyone that's already on the board has to vote that track in and vote another track out.
Or a committee of board members, which is come up with all of us riders say, okay, Kobe Sharp, Brad Rogers, and Glen Long are our three guys. And
Which another thing I think Colby's been trying to get into force is like
Colby.
a standard.
Again.
Colby?
there's no
Kobe.
L in there. Kobe, like Kobe Bryant.
R.I.P. All right, so Kobe Bryant's been trying to get a standard for each track, right?
Yeah.
And that one thing he's been trying to promote.
In terms of, like, the way they do prep work.
Like quality.
There's got to be a standard that's met,
Yeah.
or you're just out.
Yeah.
And I think he's been trying to enforce that pretty heavily.
And
He's
I think
definitely
we
trying
have
to push
big enough
that,
numbers
yeah.
to that would be fine, because there's other tracks. Say
Like,
one track is
if Moto Shitty's not going to fucking water and it's going to be a dust bowl, like they need to be fucking out.
pretty
Yeah.
much 90% of everybody there said we ain't coming back. We need to get them out.
Yet they come back.
Oh, I'm
There's
not.
more
I'm,
to it,
I'm
though.
not going back to Motor City. That's a fact.
Oh, we're done. We're boycotting Moto Shitty.
I will never race there again until it's under new ownership.
You need to start calling it Moto Shitty though. That's kind of
Moto
I
Shitty.
don't like how you're calling it Moto City.
Moto
It's
Shitty, whatever.
It's been Moto Shitty my whole life.
Yeah,
so.
Moto Shitty. Like, that's boycott until someone else is running the place.
I think
and it
I'll
gets better.
agree. I think
Like,
I'll agree.
It like first of all,
last time I was there, it wasn't too bad. But I mean, that's been 2 years.
it was bad this year. And first of all, you show up and you have to deal with everything you fucking own being covered with stickers.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Which I'm okay with if we show up to a quality race weekend, right? But to show up and deal with that, like, my whole camper's full of fucking stickers. My bikes are full of fucking stickers. I got stickers in my boots.
Dust bowl.
And then the track's a shithole.
yeah.
I ain't,
Busted out a roadcaster.
I ain't going back. And I've tried to be like cordial and nice about the place over the last couple of years when we talked about it, but I'm done. It's a shithole.
Well,
That's all there is to it.
I would really like to see. I would really like to see some sort of a committee that has some say so, maybe some structure there. And look, I don't expect it for 23, but
No.
like, our series is pretty cool. Like, man, we're sitting here and we're complaining about this and that, but we have a pretty good series.
I don't want the series to go away, and I like the structure of the series as it currently is. I don't have any issues with that. A lot of people complain about that, but I that's not one of my complaints. My only complaint is that there's been several tracks that have been multiple years in a row now where it's like this place could be so fucking sick if you just put water down on a regular basis.
Right.
You know, or tilt it like 6 inches deeper.
Yeah.
Like, but when a lot of the tracks that I'm referring to, when you tell them that, say, hey, like, I think you could put more water down, or hey, maybe you should rip this a little deeper, they basically tell you to go fuck yourself.
Right.
You know, and that's not right. Like, these are your customers, you know what I mean?
Yeah.
That's my thing, is like, if your entire customer base says, hey, your product is not good, you should probably innovate, right? That's the thing.
Well, and I guess what's the most upsetting is that, like, you know, at some point, the people who pay the money that are disappointed, you know, they can gripe and complain, but until they're not coming, until it is boycotted, nothing's going to change.
Yeah.
You know?
That's
I
true.
mean, if nothing changes, if there's no reprimand and there's no loss of money, then why would they ever step it up?
Yeah. Well, I've
and
heard
that's where this committee could drop a track if they.
Yeah. Or, you know, a reprimand. Say, okay, well, if that's the way you're going to prep your track, well, then we're going to take you off the series for 1 year, you know, or whatever.
And this idea has been floating around. I don't know if you guys heard it.
Yeah, I might have been Kobe or someone else was like, if at the banquet the track doesn't get at least 5 or 10% of the votes for track of the year, then they're out.
Yeah, like, you know, so at the banquet, everybody, you vote for track of the year, and the lowest one gets no votes, or lowest amount out of the 10 tracks, the number 10 on votes is out, and that opens a door for a new track for the next year.
I think that would keep the series fresh.
And then that track that got kicked out,
it keeps the series fresh, and it motivates track owners to try to make their track product.
yeah, and they say, hey, look, we made these improvements, we want back in.
Get better or get out.
Yeah.
And so then the next year when somebody's out, they have a slot to come back in if they can show that they've improved.
I think it's a great idea, and I think it would motivate the facilities to try to deliver a good product.
And you know, it would be really cool if they did that, is if they gave the vote to the riders for the track that comes in too. You know what I mean?
Yeah.
Because then those tracks that won in, like, say, Sweet 16, which is in now or whatever, or TMX or whatever it's called, like, that's what it's called, right?
Mm-hmm.
Yeah. That to have ride days and say, hey, this is going to be an open ride
A candidate.
day.
Yeah. Come check out our track.
Yeah.
Yeah.
I mean, because, you know, I don't think any of these guys are getting rich off this stuff, but
No.
any time that, I mean, like, I'm a business owner too, you know, anytime that I have a chance to display what we do and, you know, and possibly make more money, you know, and not only that, but show that, you know, we're working hard for our customers, I'm going to do it. That's
You're not going to
win-win.
half-ass it. Yeah.
Yeah.
Well, it's like Elk City this year, right? We had a 30-mile-an-hour wind all weekend in the western plains of Oklahoma. Like, probably the worst location you could possibly have for drying the dirt out, right? Ran a water truck all day long, and the track still was better than some of the other tracks on the series this year.
You know, it was Sunday, and it got to a point in the motos, like, where it was either, like, I don't know about you guys, but when they water a track that is already baked and it's like snot,
It makes it worse.
it's worse. That's when I'm like, you know what? Okay, now I'm going to get hurt.
Yeah.
Like, I can ride a dry, dusty track. If you put water on that thing, now you're going to get me hurt.
Yeah.
But Mason decided not to water at some point. He said, hey, look, guys, it's dusty in this, but if I put water down, it's going to be worse.
Yeah. Well, Mason's a racer. He understands
Yeah,
that.
and I really respected that because, like, you know, most guys would go and spritz some water out there because they're trying to please some people that are saying, it's dusty over here.
Which it makes it a grease ball for the next two motos, and then it's just dry as fuck again.
It's dangerous.
And that's where I feel for Mason, people like that, because, yeah, we're happy, but there's the other people that don't understand that concept and that are going to gripe.
Well, you know, it's crazy.
You don't ever please everybody.
Yeah. Saturday, he did so good of keeping it all prepped and all that stuff. The track was awesome, and he put all this effort into changing the track completely, so there was no, like, biased riders that were faster or had more practice on the track. That's really cool. Evens a playing field. Mm-hmm. A lot of people were upset about that. And then,
really, like,
I had heard this, that, like, you know, he was fixing the track up and everybody's happy with him. And this guy comes up and says, you know, hey, man, the track's great. You've done a good job. And he said, and that same guy, after I watered, was like, dude, it's too muddy now. Like, it just goes to show you that you can't please everybody.
Yeah, but to me, that's like the fringe complainer. You know what I mean? Like those people are out on the fringes of the real issues. Like stuff like that. That's whatever. You're gonna get this oddball complainer every once in a while.
Right.
You can't please those people ever.
Well,
but I think I would say this page that we have here sort of represents the quorum of the people that really are invested in the series. Mm-hmm. Maybe 80% of the members of this group are probably very invested in the Oklahoma State Championship. And it just there needs to be more attention to detail on race weekends. I think like you can't be dry in the first 5 motos. Like that's just unacceptable. I think.
Right.
And that's not me complaining. I just feel like that's a standard nowadays for motocross. Maybe in the 80s and 90s you could get away with a bone dry, crusty ass track, but that's not the way it is anymore.
Right. Well, and I know the track owners are putting a lot of money into getting the track ready, but you know what? Families are out here broke making it to these races. Yeah. And so when they're laying it all on the line, yes, I feel for the track owner because they may not be making a lot of money. They've got a lot of equipment to take care of, but you know what? So do these racers and the families. I mean, you guys, I don't know about you, but we have bike issues. We have truck issues. We have camper trailer issues. I mean, everything is, it's just,
and it's
a lot to keep up with.
This is why people get upset, right? Yeah. Like everything I just described about the recent Moto City race. I spent $400 to go do that.
Right.
And I didn't have $400 that weekend.
Right.
But I made it happen because if I went and did that race, I was probably going to get 5th overall in the championship.
Right.
And get to stand up there with Chase and hold my little cup, right, at the banquet. But it was like, I was pissed after the second moto. I'm like, this place fucking sucks. But I'm not going to come to that same like ultimatum with the other tracks. Like I had complaints about some of the other tracks, but that's been a consistent just like disappointment for me the last few years is that facility. I don't know.
Yep, I think they've looked into weather a couple times that kept it bearable, but this last time was pretty rough. And I understand this pond was dried up and all that stuff, but like, dude, go buy the water. Like you've committed to this, take care of it, no matter what.
That's the thing is, he's not getting rich off of it, but he's probably making 15, 20 grand that weekend.
Well, like here's the thing: if you're gonna put the series on, if you're gonna commit to it, you've got to have like we're kind of saying a standard to keep the track up to. Like we're not coming there to race in dry sand. Yeah, we want a track that we can race. It was pretty rough.
Like you're talking about making money, like you commit to it. You can make $2,000 or you can make 20 grand, depending on the circumstances. But if say he did everything he could and made $2,000, but everybody was happy, they're going to come back next year and make more money next year. Well, now this year everybody was pissed off. Next year, if he is back, get a poor turnout.
The rumor mill is that he won't be. But
well, that's what I've heard many years. But
the only good news for him is he won't spend any money on working on the track.
But the thing is, like,
so any money he brings in,
if you still
he'll probably make,
like, whether you profit 20 grand or you profit $2,000, you're still profiting $2,000
right
in 2 days. You know what I mean?
I just think, you guys know he's just not invested anymore like he was at one time.
Right.
But
can't let go.
I can't say that I wouldn't, die stubbornly like this too. The dude loved it for a long time. So you never know. Could just be him being stubborn, and maybe he'll look at it and realize one day that maybe I should have let her go a couple years
Well,
before.
the rumor I've always heard is that he owns the series, basically. Like he owns the name of the series and has threatened to basically ruin everybody else if they try to boycott his series. Because he went, the rumor I heard is that he went and trademarked like 50 different variations of the name.
No kidding.
Of the series. Oklahoma we heard that at the race from multiple people.
So basically, like if anybody tried to start a new series and called it like Oklahoma Motocross Championship or Oklahoma State Championship of Motocross or Oklahoma State Series Motocross Championship, like what he's trademarked all those names.
And so they have to keep him on the series. Is
Why don't
what
we
we heard. That's rumor.
That's what
that is 100% rumor.
Yeah, we should just call it something else. That's weird as fuck.
Yeah. We'll call it, I know
Anyways,
he hasn't trademarked the Pit Racing Oklahoma State
Yeah, like we got time to do that.
Oh, I know, right?
If It's old Tate, right?
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah,
Big
Roger
dog
Tate.
Yeah.
If he's that goddamn stubborn, Jesus, he's putting some work in.
Yeah. Well, I mean, and this probably happened 10, 15 years ago. I don't know.
Well, if he'd put the work in a water truck, everybody'd be happy.
Yeah.
I ain't gonna lie to you, that track.
Or prep on the faces. So I hate to keep beating this down because I really don't like to talk negative that much, but this happened. I witnessed it, Glenn, at the race. You noticed there was multiple times we stopped the races for an injury.
Right.
And how many races this year did we stop the races for injury? I don't remember.
Not near as many as we did at that one. I think there was four red flags.
It was an 80 class, and they red flagged it. And I happened to be up behind the gate, and the 80s pulled back on the gate, and I see this golf cart pull up in front of the gates, and the 80s are pulling back in, and it's Roger, and he pulls up, and he's yelling at the kids on their 80s, and he's like, when you see a red flag, you need to stop racing. That means stop racing. You come back to the gate. And it's pretty bad when teenagers that are racing 85s, I literally heard a kid, not going to name any names, say the track is dangerous. There's kickers on every face. It's dangerous. And then another one goes, yeah, it's scary out there. The track's horrible. And he goes, what? And they said, yeah, the track, it's dangerous. And he hits the gas and takes off on his golf cart.
And these are like,
When
what,
these are
13-year-olds?
14-year-olds basically telling him your track's dangerous. The kid's out there laying on the dirt because it's dangerous, and he just takes off in the golf cart.
Yeah. And it's happened at other tracks, but it's happened 2 years in a row at Moto Shitty. Pardon me. Go up to the gate for plus 25, and they pair us with Pro Class, right?
Did you say Moto Shitty?
Yes, I did.
Okay.
They pair us with the Pro Class. And first moto, I said, "You going to split the gates?" And the guy goes, "What?" I said, "You're going to give us a split gate. Like, let the pros go first and then drop us." And he's like, "Are you serious?" I said, "Yeah, I'm dead serious."
No, I'm joking. I'm trying to tell a joke here.
Like, there's 5 pros and 10 plus 25 riders, and we're all going to try to get the whole shot. We're going to be fucking with each other's race. Like,
Yeah.
it's a matter of 10 seconds. And he goes, honestly, you want me to do that? And I said, yeah, dead serious. He just looks at me, and he looks at the guy next to him, and he goes, "You want that too?" And the guy goes, "Yep." He goes, "All right, I guess we'll do that." 2 years in a row.
That's one thing. Multiple tracks. I think the series needs to decide one way or the other because it's come down to the track, whoever's running the gate, to decide it.
Yeah.
Like at Ascot, they asked us on the line. And I'm like, no, I want 2 because I don't want to mess with the pros. Well,
if the gates are working,
and the guy at the gate said, "Oh, the pros, there's only 2 of them." They said it's fine. And I'm like, man, I mean, I hate to, like, if I get the whole shot and I'm in their way, you know what happened second moto at
Get
Ascot?
the whole shot.
I come in that first corner, first or second, maybe of second. Both pros were behind me. It was Tristan, Anthony, and Dayton Allen.
Yeah.
I'm in the inside rut and I stall it. And I'm pretty sure Dayton was behind me. I was so upset with myself because I fucked his race up.
Yeah.
You know, if Tristan was on the outside, he took off. I don't remember how exactly it went down, but I know I stalled it, and somebody bumped my back tire, and I'm pretty sure it was one of the 2. And to me, I'm like, they're
I was in
racing
this
for
race.
money this year?
I think so.
Because I thought it was the first race of the
Okay.
at Ascot where
Maybe
we
not
double gated. I don't think this past time we were. I think you were with Pro Class in one, and then
Yeah.
I was with the other Pro Class. But anyways, like I'm like, this sucks because I just screwed up one of they're
Right.
racing each other for money, and I just messed up one of them.
I did the same thing. The second race there at Ascot, they gate 1, and I don't remember if I got the whole shot or not. I think Tristan got the whole shot, but I was in front of Dayton and held him up for what was 3/4 of a lap.
Yeah.
you don't need.
It's
you
like
don't-
it's
you don't
hard
need to
because
be-
it's like you want to race them, but then it's like
I'm not
like,
their
I need
speed.
it. But then if you pull over and let them go, next thing you know, a guy in your class goes with them.
Yeah.
You don't need to be double gating classes.
Well, yes, they do because
No,
No,
time
he's
frame.
I'm
saying you
saying
don't need to be dropping them at the same time.
Same.
Oh, yeah.
Gate drop. Yeah, if you
drop
got
the gate and 30 seconds later drop it again.
It's
Like they did at Glen Helen for
You just
years.
don't.
You're
you don't
burning
need to
up.
be-
You're burning up maybe an extra 30 minutes a day doing that.
Yeah.
Not a-
Especially like Chase said, when there's money on the line. Which I mean, maybe Dayton Allen and Tristan don't really care, but some people fucking care.
I
Some
don't
people
know.
care about that much. You know what I mean? It's just like you don't double gate classes. People's racing their class, not other people's class.
That's okay at a local race, but at the state series, I think, man, you're racing. This is a series. Like, you
Yeah.
should have your own race.
yeah.
I mean, you have a banquet at the end of the year for a champion. Like, should that mean anything or no?
yeah.
Like, I don't know.
I agree.
Well,
But either way, you don't. To me, you don't double gate two classes at the same. You
Same
don't,
drop.
You don't do the same drop.
You can double gate, but separate drops.
Yeah, same drop because maybe there's two racers in pro, whatever. But let them go first, and then let the other class go. Like, let them have their own race.
so did I just hear you guys are making a committee? Is that what's happening?
Man,
We're
something
gonna
needs
leave that up to
happen.
Colby.
Colby
With the
Sharp.
L, Hardo.
Something needs to happen. I don't know. There definitely needs to be a standard for like what to expect when you show up to the state race.
Yep.
Because I don't remember, like, I remember back in the day, like Cooperland, sometimes if you had a late in the year race and it was super windy, like Cooperland would get pretty dry. But again, that's a place that's like sort of wide open and fast track, usually a lot of entries, and
It was usually hot.
it was usually hot. And like I give tracks the benefit of the doubt in situations like that. You got a lot of wind, you got a lot of heat, like there's nothing you can do. But when it's fucking April, right, and we've had 15, 20 inches of rain in the last 3 weeks and the track's dry in the first motos, I'm like, come on, man.
Yeah.
That's just lack of attention to detail.
I can't remember for sure, but was there a membership due back in the day?
I don't remember. I think there was because I have cards from when I was younger.
I don't remember it back in the day, but I could be wrong.
Yeah, I have a state series card from like 06, 07 at my house.
There may have always been. I just don't remember.
Yeah.
Let me ask you guys something. If the membership dues instead of $40 or whatever it is was $80, if it was doubled,
It's only 25.
okay, whatever it is, I don't even know what it is. But if it was double or even triple, but there was guaranteed that these little standards would happen, would you pay it?
Oh, absolutely. Yeah.
I would, but I think there's more people that wouldn't. They'd
Right.
be like, "What? I got to pay that?
Now I
plus
got to
the-"
pay $80 or whatever. Yeah,
To race 9 fucking races,
yeah. But here's the
it's
thing:
like $7 a race.
Like,
There's, there's more people that would gripe. I guarantee.
Oh, I'm sure there is, but like you show up to a regional and you're paying like $200 just in
That's
fees.
the problem. The people going to regionals are not the people going to state races.
it's true.
I mean, they are
The
though.
high majority going to state races are not going to regionals.
When I was intermediate, I raced some state races, and as soon as I started doing nationals, I never went to a state race again.
Yeah,
Like,
see, we weren't that way, but I mean, I don't know. To me, I do.
It
the
wasn't because I
I
didn't
think-
want to. It was just it was so busy. The schedule was
Yeah,
so
especially,
crazy.
I understand.
especially nowadays. So look at Loretta's this past year. Look at all the entries. How many of those kids or people that race Loretta's race our series? Less than 10, probably.
Yeah.
Well, they might do some, but they're not racing the series.
No. And
I
then
don't know.
even ones that tried. I mean, it's still 10%, I would say.
I mean, I think another thing too about like most of the kids at Loretta's, they're not there for fun. At least in their parents' head or their head, like they're not there for fun. Like this is going to be their life. They think it's not going to be, but they think it is. You know what I mean? People at the state races, like they're there because they like to ride dirt bikes. There are the kids there that like think they have a chance, which they don't.
But the majority, they're their family camp out for the weekend. And
Yeah,
they're
but-
also a competition. They're racing for a championship
yeah.
or fourth place, fifth place.
That's what I'm saying. Loretta's
Go to
doesn't
the
work.
banquet.
Loretta's don't work that way. Loretta's is like every kid there thinks they have some chance. Their parents do. Somebody does. Somebody thinks they have a chance at making a living doing this sport. Like our little state series, most people there, you know, we have some kids, we have some adults, but like most people are there to have fun. I think.
No, you're right.
Yeah, but at the same time, I feel like if you don't want to pay a little bit, if you don't want to pay a membership fee, if you don't want to ride a rough track, if you don't want to do this, do that, the things that come with riding a slightly higher level series like the state series, Go race the fucking Hot Summer Night Series or something.
Well, and it just makes me wonder, like, if what I'm asking is, yeah, we're vet riders and we're going to pay a little bit more because we want some better track prep, but
Right.
that would be a great vote to put out. Say, hey, like, look, we're not going to take more money out of people's pockets for nothing. You know what I mean? Like, so would it be worth it to give a little bit more money and put it out for a vote? Like,
So-
if you were that pissed off about track prep, do you think more money would fix it?
I don't know, because I don't like membership money doesn't go back into the track owner's pocket as far as I know. Like the series keeps that money and they use that for buying like year-end prizes and things like that. Entry fees, on the other hand, that stuff does go back to the track owners. At least part of it does. I don't know how much does, but I mean, they've already bumped up the entry fees by $5 this year. I think they're $40 a pop now, which is on par with other regional series in the area. But I mean,
I'm not trying to make money for the track owners for more track prep. Like, I think that I'm not trying to say that they don't deserve more money.
Yeah.
But what I'm saying is, if you're to put a committee that's actually a committee that's going to put time and effort into this, they need to be somehow
compensated
for their time.
yeah.
Otherwise, you're going to get a kind of a piss poor effort, man.
I love the idea, but I think it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
Personally.
Well,
because one of the big ideas that I saw on this was like there needs to be a set crew that does a track prep at each race, and I think that's a wonderful idea. But again, I think it's a pipe dream.
Yeah.
well,
It's a pipe dream.
You think that the guy that has Ascot's going to let Game Moto come prep his track?
Probably not.
Hell no.
Yeah, that's the thing. And you're looking at what you probably need at least 5 or 6 guys, right, running equipment the whole weekend, and I mean they're not going to do that for a couple $100 for the whole weekend,
Right.
You know, so you're
Plus, then you've got to have good equipment, and if the track doesn't, you got to rent it.
So you're probably talking
cost is out.
You're probably talking $3 or $4 grand in equipment rental, and then probably $3 or $4 grand to make it worth the time for the operators.
Yeah.
I don't think it's going to happen.
I feel like this year, maybe the last couple of years, we only had 2 tracks that were an issue. Ascot and Moto Shitty, right?
I thought Ascot was good last year, and
Hey,
people said it was good
I'm
this
just
year.
saying,
The
like,
second one this year, it was
Honestly, a lot of people griped, but me and Glenn both, I think Ascot was fine. this
What
year.
I'm saying though is Ascot and Moto Shitty are pretty much the 2, right?
Ascot,
No, there's others. I'm not going to name every track that was
I
bad,
wouldn't
but
put Ascot on the list.
I mean, I've had no problems at any of them, but I'm just saying I feel like those are the 2 tracks.
There
I mean,
were-
what other tracks do we have?
we got Reynolds, OMC.
Rainers was shitty.
no,
No. I thought you would just want me to list the tracks.
No, I'm saying the shitty tracks.
Oh, again, I don't necessarily want to air out all the tracks, but
Why not?
because we're friends with a lot of these people.
Well-
What tracks were shitty?
Let's put it this way. Let's change the wording a little bit. What tracks were phenomenal?
What tracks were phenomenal? Reynolds.
Reynolds sets a pretty high bar.
Yeah, I'm not trying to compare every other track to Reynolds because that's just not fair.
and it's
But
hard to.
What are you saying about Rainers though? Like,
Reynolds
I mean,
was
it's
really
just,
really
it's
good.
just deep
Let
and
me ask
ruddy.
you this. Let me ask
No,
you this.
Robbie runs the water truck fucking 24 hours a day, 7 days a
His
week
tracks,
on that
his
track.
track's great. I ain't saying it ain't. I'm just saying like,
Well, what I'm
his
saying is
prep
his
is-
standard of prep is going to be hard for other facilities to meet.
Yeah,
That's what I'm
because
saying.
he from daylight to dark, he's watering,
yeah,
prepping.
he's
Yeah.
got it. He's got it dialed in.
So I'm not saying every track needs to be on Reynolds level.
What
but-
What tracks are dry? They put no fucking effort in, and it's not good.
Well, this year, Ponca did not live up to its usual standard.
Yeah, Ponca was not near.
There was
what it should
like
have
almost
been.
no ruts.
Who the hell even runs Ponca?
The city, right?
Well, it depends
No.
on what race is going on there.
That's what I'm
They,
saying.
they have a crew, but
The Moto Playground guys run it for the national.
we're
but
not getting Ponca out of the series.
no.
That's all there is to
I'm
it.
not saying Ponca like this was a one-off year.
So
for
You
Ponca.
just asked for conditions.
Ponca was shitty.
Hey, instead of interjecting, let me talk for a second. So Ponca did not live up to its usual standard.
Not dogging it, but OMC was not good. But it was
How was
very
Bob's?
high winds.
Yeah, OMC had a really windy weekend, so I'm not going to
But
talk.
he tried.
He definitely tried. Yeah,
He
I mean,
put
he's
in
put-
effort.
he's
yeah.
putting
So
effort.
I'm not going to.
I have nothing bad to say about OMC.
Track conditions, I feel like it sucked, but it was out of his hands.
Honestly, Bob's the sponsor of the podcast, but the track was not what it should have been this year.
I don't even remember J Bob's this year.
It was super dry and it got there pretty quick.
I mean, Bob's putting his heart and soul into it though. So
Yeah, I
Bob
feel
was
like
in.
it started out good in practice. Like I remember I crashed in practice. It was muddy in practice, like how it should have been. And remember I crashed right in front of the finish line.
Yeah. I mean,
His dirt gets like that,
But
too.
that's just the
Oh,
way
I
it
do
is.
remember it now.
It
Yeah.
goes
it
from
just-
great to
You
dry
have
quick.
at that
And it
track.
hits
You
that
have to
point-
really stay on top
and
of
it hits
it.
that point, like you said, where if you water, then it's just
not.
worse.
yeah,
Like,
that's
that.
that's the type of dirt he has, I feel
Yeah,
like.
that place is I think could be one of the best tracks in the state, with a different style of track management. Yeah.
Yeah, which I saw recently in the last couple months. He moved a bunch of dirt from up front, the front track. You
Oh,
know,
did
it's loamy.
Yeah.
Put some
They,
sand in
they
it.
brought dump truck loads of that dirt back.
Well,
and
I'll
we're
be interested
starting
to see
mix
how
it
that
in.
goes.
So Bob's wasn't
I'm
the
sure
best.
sure
Yeah.
it'll take time to get
know,
more,
Right.
but
You know what would be kind of cool is to see like what tracks we could move around in the schedule of weather.
certain times of the year.
Yeah, because
Yeah, so-
Raynard's is like if it gets dry at Raynard's, it's still good. Like
So this was the thing, right? So like this year, Jeremy had a spring race for the first time in the last few years.
Yeah.
And AMP was awesome. Granted, we had that downpour Saturday night, right, which I think helped him out a little bit. But even if we didn't have that, it would have been better than usual
you know what they
because of the
proved
time
there
of year.
is that the whole series can be run in one day.
Mm-hmm.
It rained Friday night.
That's true. But there was also a lot of people that left on Saturday.
That's true.
So I don't know.
It was amazing though. I was gonna say
Yeah,
like
the pit sucked, but the track was awesome.
you know I was telling Jeremy we were up there for a winter series race or something the other day, and I didn't race, but I was talking with him a little bit, and I'm like, I don't know what it is, but I love AMP. Like
I like AMP
Do I
a
think
lot.
it
I think it's
races
fun.
great?
No.
Not necessarily, but I went and rode there when I first started getting back into riding. It's probably been 7 or 8 years ago, and it was awesome. And like it was when we went and practiced 7 or 8 years ago. It was dry. It was kind of shit, but it was fun.
Yeah.
And every time I go there, the track is fun. This year it was awesome, but it's been a little bit dry. But
Yeah. No, AMP is a fun layout. I always have fun on that track. But Jeremy even said, he's like, this is the most technical this track will ever be.
yeah,
That Sunday after we had all that rain.
Yeah, I'd never seen it with ruts like that.
Yeah. But it, there were like,
Remember that race?
so out of the 8 races, well, we did 9 races technically with the second round at Ascot, but out of 9 races, I think four of them left some to be desired for sure.
I was most disappointed with Ponca. I'm not saying anything. I was the most disappointed with it because I was excited about it being something that it never turned out to be.
Right.
I think
yeah.
a lot of people were.
Yeah, and but again, that's a one-off, right? Like
Yeah.
that's not typical for that facility. And so again, that goes back to they had a bad year. I'm not going to hang them out to dry over one bad weekend because usually Ponca sets a really high bar, just like Raynard's.
So basically, Moto Shitty was the main track that was a pile of shit.
Yeah, and
it was
so
the
after
worst,
what
for
we're
sure.
talking about, I feel like if we kick them and brought one new one in, and then we start the precedence of, hey, this track's out because of lack of effort, then all these other tracks are going to try to do their best. And
Yeah.
everybody's going to, and then they know at the end of the year, one of them's getting kicked.
All of this
New one's coming in.
all of this goes back to the riders need to feel like they have a say in what goes on.
Yeah, because after you complain, nothing happens.
Right.
Then you leave.
Yeah.
I
like
just, I
And
just
that's
feel
not
like,
what we want to happen.
I just feel like a track should I think Kobe said it a million times, but it's like they at least got to put some effort in.
yeah.
Like it sounds like Moto Shitty did nothing.
No. Like if they're roughing in the track Friday night, probably not ideal.
Like I know,
He mowed his grass,
I've been racing.
and he ran into a water truck.
I've been racing Moto Shitty most of my life. I mean, I've seen somebody almost get shot there. It seems like
if we're gonna keep on this track, I will share a little story.
Well, let me tell you, it seems like almost every time I've been to Moto Shitty, my first lap, it's like the track's been ridden for a month. Every face is kind of fucking shitty.
Yeah.
Every jump's pretty shitty, but I've just been accustomed to that, I guess.
Yeah.
But I've never one time went back to my high school, my friend, and said, "Hey, dude, I rode Moto Shitty. It was a fucking awesome time." I came back and said, "Fuck, I survived."
Yeah,
Pretty
every
much.
time.
You know what I mean?
Yeah.
I mean, that's basically the best memory I have from Moto Shitty was when someone almost got shot, and I think Hawthorne used to live close by, and I went and fished his pond and caught some bass. That's my best memories ever at Moto Shitty.
I was with you. Yeah.
And then like everybody got stickers in their feet.
Yeah.
Right.
So that's been happening for a while.
Yeah. No,
My whole
the
life.
stickers have been a staple of that place for a long time.
I mean, I'm just saying, like, I don't know much. I mean, Moto Shitty was just Moto Shitty.
But
It was all like, I never went there like, oh, hell yeah, we're going to run a cool track. It's like, oh, fuck, dude, we're going to Moto Shitty. Let's see what we can do.
yeah, but the stickers thing, like, it's funny, but it's something, not a big deal. Like, Anadarko had fuckloads of stickers back in the day.
Right.
But it was always a pretty decent facility in terms of track conditions. It was always tough, but
Maintained.
yeah.
I don't know.
But the stickers just add insult to injury. Is the
Their
thing,
starting
you know?
gate sucked. dick,
Anadarko, yeah, you're fucking
That
on an
leaning ass
angle.
concrete.
Yeah.
dude. They did not use a level on that.
It was always so cold at that state race. It was always in January. Like I remember
At Anadarko?
Yeah, I remember
I
it
loved it.
snowing.
I only got to race it once.
It was snowing 2 times that I went there for the state race, and that's just out of pocket.
it like 14 or 15. One of the last years they had it, I believe. And apparently I missed the glory days. I
Man.
hear like 2010 and prior were the good days.
It was a good track. I mean, it was very technical, pretty tough. You had to be wide open to really ride it, but
Yep.
no, not really any jumps. They had one downhill double that was pretty big, but that was about it.
I've got a Chris Drummond story. So we went out there to practice several times, and Chris wasn't a big jumper. I mean, he would jump, but he wasn't like I like to jump. And if you remember, you would climb the hill.
Mm-hmm.
Sometimes it would go back and down the hill and then back up.
Yeah.
Well, at this time, it was just you would climb that. You'd go up the hill. You would turn. There was a tabletop, like a little one, and then you'd go down the hill a little bit, and there's a single.
Mm-hmm.
And we were just there for practice day one day, and I said, I think I can double that. He was like, well, go do it, big dog. And I'm like, I'm gonna do it. So I go out here and I take a couple stabs at this thing, and I jump it, and it's big. It's third gear wide open, it was pretty big. And I'm like, you gonna do it? He's like, hell no. I said, you're gonna do it. You do it. I'm not doing it. We would ride that track all the time, man.
Yeah.
I couldn't get that dude to jump nothing.
Yeah. It's probably like 2009 last time I went to Anadarko. Something like that. 2010 maybe. No, I rode there on a 125, so it had to be at least 2010. But it was a long time ago. Oh, I rode there on my 250 too, actually. So, because I did one race there on my 250 because I remember my brother rode my 125. There's a picture of him sitting on the gate at Anadarko on my 125.
Main thing I remember about Anadarko was state race and then Ponca qualifier.
Oh yeah, I forgot they
And
had
it was
Ponca qualifiers
always
there.
colder than fucking shit.
Yeah.
Every time I was there.
Like I've never been to that race in warm weather. It was always cold.
I've ridden
Always
it. I've
fun.
ridden it in the snow before.
Yeah.
A couple times. I've raced it in the snow, and I've ridden it in the snow.
It's just when it's that cold, it's just not that fun to race, in my opinion. Like you're just out there getting it done.
One dude we need to get on the podcast is Jesse Braden. I don't know, he probably don't listen, but if he does, we need to get him on.
He listens,
But
Jesse's cool, man.
That motherfucker.
or at least he used to. I saw him at a restaurant in Oklahoma City like 6 months ago. He's like,
Yeah, I
"Man, I like that podcast y'all
I
are doing."
love Jesse.
I remember one time Jesse showed up at Anadarko, and he back when I was younger, he was always like a little bit faster than me. Like I never really had him, but he showed up there one year, and I hadn't seen him in a while. He showed up and I wasn't even fucking close, like miles away from me. He could fucking ride that track, but I mean Jesse was always kind of like that when I was a kid. Like as we got older, we were kind of the same speed, but back when I was a kid, that motherfucker was a savage.
Yeah,
We need to get him on because he's an Oklahoma legend. He's got a lot of insight. He knows a lot of shit.
yeah.
So I was when we first started kind of riding back, we went to OMC one night, and I had Carson, I think it was on a TTR 50. You know what I mean? So we're just kind of trying to dabble back into it. And it was a race. I think it was a Saturday night race. It was something crazy. Anyway, it was time for the pros, and it was Johnny Marley and Jesse Braden. and Marley's on a KX 450 and Braden's on his CR 450, and they take off and Jesse gets the whole shot. And I'm like, I haven't seen any of these guys in years. And I'm really surprised that they're, both still riding, much less, killing the pro class. And so anyway, Jesse's out front. He's just taking the insides. He's smooth. It's just electric. And Marley's just blowing out the outside corners, wide
right.
open on the freaking limiter, and Jesse beats him. And I'm just like, wow. It didn't even look like Jesse was trying.
Yeah. I got a Marley story.
He's got that K-Dub style, just smooth and consistent.
I have 2 Marley stories. So one time me and Deheep were at an arena cross, and there was this, it's like 3 doubles in a row. And I can't remember which one it was in the rhythm section, but one of the doubles, this is where we coined the term a Marley line, because he had this fucking line that was like off the face, basically, like maybe halfway up the jump face, and he was just hitting it right there and staying so low, like just high enough on the face to get over the landing. And
Like taking off a foot lower than the top of the jump.
It's probably lower than that, but yeah, like for years if we jumped off the side or something, we're like, oh, we hit a Marley line. But then the other thing was, I think it was I don't know if it was Ponca National or if it was a state race one year he was there on a white Yamaha, and they still had the old layout back then. He come down that back straightaway, go through the sand rollers and come into that left-hand sweeper.
Picking up speed.
Yeah. Never fucking let off. Like, he might have been dragging the brake like you was talking about in that story earlier, but I mean, it's just all the way around that left-hand sweeper. It's so gnarly to see.
He might have been clutching her.
The white
times.
Yamahas is what I remember him from arena cross days.
Yeah.
Like Extreme World arena crosses.
Yeah.
He was probably on a white Yamaha when he hit that line, too.
Like me and Marley, I don't know if I've ever spoke to him face to face, but we always had like a thing. I swear to God.
You want to elaborate?
Well, I don't know what it was, to be honest with you, but we always had a thing, because like I raced him a few times, but we were always cool, but we never spoke in person. But I guarantee if he walked up to Marley right now, he would know who I was and know what I'm talking about. But like, I mean, I only ever raced him a few times. Like, he's apparently a lot older than me, whatever, but I know for sure, because the times I've raced him, there's things that's happened on the track to where like we're cool. But I swear to God, I've never really ever went to Marley and talked to him personally.
Corners are always respectful.
Like, I remember there was one weird thing at Cooperland one time. I was on my fucking roached out 07 250. He's behind me. My bike just starts smoking. But he kind of looks at me.
Sounds about right. I
look at him. I point down at my bike. He looks at the bike. I'm like, it's done. And he's like, it's done. And I pulled off. It's like, I guarantee you, he would know what I'm talking about.
So you're saying you want to talk to him? You want to have a little reunion?
We have a spiritual connection, but we've never really talked.
That would be a crazy podcast, Johnny Marley.
But I guarantee it.
I'd like to hear it.
Yeah.
If Johnny's out there and like still doing well, he'd definitely be great on the podcast. I don't know where he's at, how he's doing, but
I'd like to get you and Tanner Young on together.
I mean, me and Tanner Young,
hash out some old times.
We could chop it up.
I don't even know who Tanner Young is.
Really?
Oh, really?
God, dog.
Cole has had
The Young family and the Supernov family had some run-ins back in the day.
We need to get. I mean, if we could get, I could probably get Tanner Young.
Hey,
on.
he's on the road. He's a trucker.
Well,
His dad
he
is
could
too.
probably he could probably park his truck at Crystal Pools. But when they get Tanner Young on, when they get Justin Berry on, we definitely need to get Corey Green.
Corey
on.
Green.
Yeah, JB.
I'd like to hear Corey.
Yeah.
You know Corey?
I mean, I used to race with him a little bit.
All right, that's cool.
He was young though. I mean,
No, I mean, we've been talking about getting Corey on for a while. It just hadn't worked out, but we definitely need to get Corey on.
Yeah.
I don't know his story very well. I mean, he was fast, but I think he was younger than me.
Yeah, he's like probably 4 years older than me, maybe 34.
Yeah,
Yeah.
that would make sense.
Maybe even a little less. He may be like 32.
33 or 2.
He was racing the
32.
outdoor nationals for a few years.
And then he was big in the arena cross.
Yeah.
Yeah.
Yeah, real big in arena cross.
No, he's got a lot of stories. Like I hung out with him a lot. He's got a lot of stories. He'd be fun to have on.
I got a bunch of stories just from going to his house. He had a foam pit that was fucking sick.
We need to get JB on though, because he's still in the series.
I know.
What about Jimmy McGarth Jr.?
I mean, I haven't heard anything about McGarth Jr. He may probably in jail, but if we can get McGarth Jr. on and Ronnie at the same time,
Wow.
like Ronnie Mack and McGarth, gee,
That'd be wild.
That'd be epic.
All right. We got to run one more ad, and then we're going to wrap this thing up.
Tired of your kids living through their cell phone? Experience the great outdoors at Jandaber's, just 30 minutes south of Tulsa in Okmulgee. Bring a family to Jandaber's. We've taught over 3,000 kids doing up to ride safely and be good sports, even when they're throwing dirt around one of our 10 tracks. Don't have a bike? No problem. You can rent or buy the right bike from our knowledgeable team. Book a lesson now. Packages available for every skill level. Experience the great outdoors at Jandaber's Motorsports Park in Okmulgee, Oklahoma.
All right, Glenn, it's been great having you on, man.
Yeah, thanks. It's been fun.
Yeah.
Glad to have you finally make it in. We've
I know.
had a lot of people been vouching for you, saying we need Glenn on there.
I know. I hope I lived up to it.
Oh, yeah, of course. And, you know, if you're a guest on the show, you're always welcome as a repeat guest.
Heck
as well,
yeah.
So.
I'm going to jump in one of these track shows.
Yeah, that's the thing. When we start doing the, like, broadcasts at the track, I think we'll just have some of our buddies come sit down for a while and help us do some color commentary. I think
Yeah,
it'll
that'd be
cool.
awesome.
Yeah, like you and Mark and Kobe and whoever else wants to join in. I think that'll be cool.
Yeah, I kind of like the like what we did at Moto City. It was kind of longer. You know, we only had 2 guests, but we can do some, 3-4 different people, 30 minutes at a time or whatever.
Yeah, well, I'm talking about like when we're, because like the idea, right? Like we're going to radio broadcast like
You're talking about during the day. Okay.
Yeah.
I thought you were.
I mean, we can do more of those too. Those were fun because it's kind of like an on-site deal. Everybody's in the vibe.
Right? Yeah.
Yeah.
That was cool.
But yeah, it should be good. And yeah, you're always welcome to hop on whenever you want to, Glenn.
For sure.
You know your shit.
Well, I guess.
Yeah, we enjoy talking to you. Yeah. Anyway, it sounds like we got a pretty hot lineup of guests we need to get in here, and we're getting into the winter months, so
Better get on it.
Yeah, we got to get off this 2-month 2-month hiatus.
Yeah, I think we only had a month in between this one and the last
6
one, so
weeks.
That wasn't too bad. Yeah, but like we'll hit a period where we do like fucking 6 of them in a month and a half, and then we won't do one for 2 months.
Burn yourselves out.
Yeah,
Yeah, it's just life gets busy.
we're in the dry season right now.
yeah. It's really I don't know. It's not that we don't want to come in here and do them. It's just I've got to drive an hour and 20 minutes, and then
Getting everybody lined up at the same time.
Chase has 2 kids. The Heap's got a kid on the way, so.
Yeah, well, the Heap's getting a dirt bike, so
Well,
it's going to be good.
Glenn,
Yeah.
yesterday
Right.
was it yesterday I called you, Austin?
Yeah,
And I was like,
2
hey.
days ago.
Yeah, I'm like, hey, you coming in town for Thanksgiving? And I just threw this at him. He's like, yeah, I guess. We'll hit up Glenn. There's probably a good chance he's gonna have shit going. Not gonna be able to happen. So well, let's try. Sure enough, it worked out.
Oh, yeah.
So glad you can make it on short notice.
Yeah, you guys asked me, and I'm like, yep, I'll make time. I went and told my wife. She's like, what the hell? I'm like, I'm
Pit racing.
Pit racing
Podcast,
podcast. She's like, I'm kidding. Go get out.
Shit, boy.
Oh, the mayor came up earlier in the show, and I forgot to hit the button.
God, dog.
So what do you got coming in the next couple months?
Well, nothing more than you guys got coming.
Yeah. Downtime, holidays.
Yeah, I've been kind of trying to focus on the little guys right now. I got to go have my fun at Glen Helen, so I kind of want to put some focus on them, but you know how it goes.
Oh, yeah. Well, you got anybody you want to shout out here at the end of the show?
Yeah, well, I want to thank, so Warp Designs hooked me up with some graphics. I know you're SSI, but
It's no big deal.
But Warp Designs hooked it up. Appreciate those guys. And, they do a good job on graphics too. So Raynard Mods, they helped me out. And then Seahorn Yamaha. That's about it.
Hell yeah, man. Yeah, speaking of graphics, we're going to be doing the drawing for the graphic giveaway here pretty soon. So everybody that's bought merch this season, you are entered into the drawing. So be looking out for that. We're going to be doing that here pretty soon. We'll probably do like a Facebook Live or something maybe to announce the winner. But, yeah. Anyways, hopefully be on here for another podcast here pretty soon. Like I said, we got some hot guests lined up. So should be good. But anyway, been another good episode of the show.
Shit, bud.
We got to sign off. Hey,
We out.
Glenn, give me a pit racing bull.
All right, pit racing, boy.
Shit, bull. Fuck. Get in here for another one. God damn. All right, God.